Live from the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It's a long walk, about 100 yards through a winding tunnel from the locker rooms down to the field of play. 85,000 await. The Raiders meet the Patriots for a chance to play Miami next week and then on the road to the Super Bowl as we go to NFL 85 in New York and Bob Costas.
All right, Dick, thanks a lot. Don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back to you and Merlin Olsen at the Coliseum in just a few moments. Pete Axthelm is with me here in New York. Ahmad Rashad will report from the sidelines for us in L.A. We'll also join Larry King with his items from Washington a bit later in the program. First of all, as you probably know, the Bears have blanked the Giants at Soldier Field 21-0, the Bears' first home playoff game since they met the Giants in that classic 1963 NFL title contest, also dominated by defense, also won by the Bears 22 years ago by a score of 14-10. Today, 21-0. It was 7-0 Bears at halftime. The Giant defense was playing them very tough. In the second half, McMahon hit Dennis McKinnon with a pair of touchdown passes. That provided the final margin. You may recall that yesterday, Pete Axthelm predicted this game almost right on the nose to the dismay of Giant fans everywhere. Joe Morris carried 12 times for 32 yards for the Giants before a shoulder injury and also a knock on the head sidelined him. Phil Simms threw for better than 200 yards but couldn't get the Giants into the end zone. A big day for Walter Payton in very cold conditions, 92 yards rushing, although he had to carry 27 times to do it. The Giants quarterback was sacked 6 times. The Giants never got to McMahon for a sack. A big, big day for Richard Dent. He was an absolute monster on defense for the Bears today. They go on to meet the Rams next week at Soldier Field in the NFC title game. The Rams and Bears did not meet this year. Interesting to note, however, and obviously the teams have changed since then, but in both 83 and 84, the Rams beat the Bears. Those games, however, were played in Los Angeles. Speaking of L.A., let's go back there now and join Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen with their thoughts on the game between the Patriots and Raiders coming up in half an hour. Fellas?
Bob, we thought weather would be a factor in Los Angeles as well as 85,000 plus file into the Coliseum. It rained in Southern California last night. We had sprinkles this morning, but Merlin Olsen, that field appears to be in terrific condition.
Dick, unless we get a lot of rain during this game, I don't believe we're going to have any problem with footing. That's good news.
It's an easy game to look at because just like good theater and good cinema, you look up on the marquee and the stars are there. And for these two teams, the Patriots and Raiders, each has a headliner that has certainly drawn a lot of attention by the opposition.
For the Raiders, that headliner is Marcus Allen, number 32. The thing that makes Marcus Allen so tough on a defense is that he can turn a broken play like this play against the Broncos into a long touchdown run. There's no question in my mind that not only a great deal of the preparation during this week, but a lot of the conscious thought of this New England defense is on number 32, Marcus Allen. He is indeed a marked man.
That New England Patriots had that 32 step on their foreheads. Okay, on the other side, Andre Tippett, his number is 56, and the Raiders certainly have been concerned about his enormous talent.
They've got to find him first. They'll find him sometimes at that linebacking position, sometimes down in the three-point stance. Look at him here, breaking past Mickey Shore last week against the Jets. Pass Freeman McNeil, sacks and forces the fumble on O'Brien. That's the kind of big plays that he's been making all year long. And believe me, he is going to be a thorn in the side of this Patriot or the Raider offense all day long.
2 stars, and they have the awards to prove it. Allen, the MVP in the league, and the top defensive player, AFC, Tippett. So the stars are ready, Bob.
Okay, Dick, thanks very much. You know, with these two teams meeting on the Raiders' home field, it reminds us of the 1976 playoffs, although, of course, then the Raiders were at Oakland that year when the Raiders wound up winning the Super Bowl. They won Super Bowl 11 against Ahmad Rashad and the Vikings the following January with John Madden as their coach. They lost only 1 game. They lost it to the Patriots in Foxborough. Pats beat them big.
They were routed, and they came back, and they were very lucky to beat the Patriots. They needed a penalty late in the game that gave them added life, and Ken Stabler was able to run in to beat them 24-21. It was the Raiders' crisis. I don't think they'll have such a crisis today, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, the Patriots won during the regular season that year, 48-17, and could have won the playoff game, as you say, Axe, if not for the roughing the passer call. And what a controversial call it was. Patriot fans still very upset with Ben Dreif, who worked that game as an official that day. And as a matter of fact, Dreif worked at Soldier Field today in the Bears-Giants game.
And of course, there's not a Patriot fan alive that isn't convinced that Al watered the field that day, because everybody loses to the Raiders out there thinks he watered the field.
In any case, the roughing the passer call against Sugar Bear Hamilton on Kenny Stabler kept the drive alive, and Stabler got the Raiders into the end zone for the 24-21 win. The Pats were out. The Raiders went on to win the Super Bowl. And we'll go on checking with Larry King in Washington, D.C. when we come back. NFL 85, the AFC playoffs. Brought to you by the full line of 1986 Volkswagens. By Budweiser Beechwood Aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
The new German-engineered Volkswagen Golf. We made it fast. We made it agile. We made it big. And at this price, we may have made it hard to buy just one. Golf. It's not a car. It's a Volkswagen.
I've heard creative people are miserable money managers.
On the contrary, my IRA from Metropolitan Life provides a tax deduction now and a generous retirement income.
IRA? MetLife?
They guarantee all the money I put in, no matter how much.
MetLife sells IRAs?
Maybe you should get one.
With what I've got, I don't worry about such things.
What's that?
A pretty face.
You'd be better off with an IRA. Get Met. It pays.
When you're dealing with higher volumes of information and need answers fast, you search everywhere for solutions, but find it hard to get on top of things. That's why IBM created the personal computer AT, with the power to push high performance even higher. With the AT, fast becomes faster, and the capacity to handle data becomes greater, all to help put your business on solid ground. The IBM personal computer AT for advanced technology.
Left and reverse on go. Ready? Okay, you guys, let's protect that quarterback. Okay, kids, that's it for today. Hey, Terry, nice throwing.
Hi, Coach. Don't forget the game Saturday.
Thanks for leaving me to handle that meeting.
I couldn't keep 20 adorable guys waiting. Listen, dinner's on me.
The American Express card. It's part of a lot of interesting lives.
Yesterday, Larry King told us that he had had a conversation with Don Shula. The Dolphin coach feared both the Cleveland defense and overconfidence on the part of his team. Those concerns turned out to be very warranted as Cleveland jumped out to the 21-3 lead. Now I understand, Larry, as we check with you live in Washington, D.C., you have an item about Richard Dent, and considering that he was the defensive star of the game for the Bears today, it's very apt. Go ahead.
Yes, Robert, it's reported that Richard Dent's salary is $90,000 a year. If that's true, he is the most underpaid player, maybe in sport. Had we had a pregame show last week, and we did not have one because the Sun Bowl was played in Florida, you'd have accurately heard Don Shula's forecast of the Patriot-Jet game. He hit it on the money. Here's what the head coach of the Dolphins, who will be in the championship game next week, says about the game upcoming on NBC. New England is solid defensively. They have a very good chance to win today if they can shut down the running game, and if Tony Eason can repeat last week's performance and play error-free, the Patriots could win this afternoon. They've got to stop Marcus Allen, and Shula calls him the best running back in the AFC. It will not be easy. Don thinks it'll be a low-scoring game. Mark Wilson of the Raiders, probably the least respected quarterback in the NFL, but his record as a starter, 11 victories, 2 defeats. You figure it out. Baseball item, Bob. Edward Bennett Williams, owner of the Orioles, told me this week, quote, he's always listened to his baseball people. Now he's going to trust his own instincts. Some current Orioles will not be Orioles on opening day. More trades are coming for Baltimore. And in my opinion, Bob, if the fans could vote, TV's instant replay would be an official part of NFL coverage. Robert?
Larry, thanks a lot. And one of the items you brought up, I want to kick around here with Pete Axthelm. No love lost between Billy Sullivan and Al Davis. No doubt about that. In fact, it goes back to the 60s. Before the leagues merged, Al Davis, you may recall, prior to the merger, was the commissioner of the AFL. But Billy Sullivan, as the Patriot owner, opposed his appointment. And in fact, this is ironic, Sullivan's choice was Bill Veeck.
That's right. That was the start of the bad blood, and of course it went on through the years. Sullivan went to L.A., testified against Al Davis moving the Raiders from Oakland to L.A. At the time, Lee Montville had a very good column on this in the Globe yesterday, the Boston Globe. At the time, somebody said to Sullivan, you should never testify against Al. He'll come by to testify against you. And sure enough, when Sullivan was sued by stockholders, Al arrived in Boston to testify against him. definitely not a friendly rivalry.
So a little subplot as we prepare for the Patriots-Raiders game from the Coliseum in L.A. We'll go back out to the field and get the insights of Ahmad Rashad when we continue on NFL 85.
This bud's for all that you do. You keep America going. You keep the juices flowing. While the muscle, the hope and the hustle, you keep the country growing. And you make America working. This bud's for you. You keep the nation trying. You keep the dream from dying. You're the believer, the fun and the fever. You keep the heart of it flying. 'Cause you make America working. This bud's for you.
Here's to you. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beer.
You make America working. This bud's for you.
The affordable German road car. The Volkswagen Jetta.
Ahmad Rashad has been our traveling man this weekend. Miami yesterday and then out to Los Angeles. He's at the Coliseum now. Take it away, fella.
All right, Bobby, it's a nicer day here. It's a little overcast, a little bit damp, but it's gotten drier, and I think that the conditions are going to be fantastic. But, you know, when I think back of playing against the Raiders, it's always a special feeling. I don't know if it's part of their history because they've won so many games, or maybe the way they've won the games. They play an aggressive, attacking style that everybody knows about. Now, when you talk about roughing penalties, a lot of times roughing penalties can deflate a team, take all the momentum away. But with the Raiders, I talked to Matt Millen. He said, when we get a roughing penalty, we get fired up. Now, they not only intimidate with their style, but they also intimidate with the enormous size of some of their players.
Well, I think Al Davis has always been kind of amored with size and speed. Those are the two things that he really flips out over. He'll keep a 6'8" guy around here for 5 years, whether he can play or not, just so he can walk on the field and look scary.
Well, what about the attitude, though? I mean, you guys have such an aggressive attitude, and it seems to be perpetual. Every year they got new players, and all the guys are the same. They're just kind of a knock-you-down, punch-you-in-the-mouth type of player.
Well, I think the biggest difference, well, that's a good point because, you know, the tradition here, all the way down from Willie Brown, Jim Otto, Gene Upshaw, Art Shell, I get the impression that when Gene Upshaw and Art Shell were playing, and you played against them in the Super Bowl, they lined up and they were going to run that 15 lead man, which is a play right off tackle behind Art Shell or the 15 Bob Trejo. And everybody and their uncle knew where the play was going, but nobody could stop it. And it's the same thing defensively. We like to line up and get man-on-man matchups, and hopefully we're going to be the better man, you know, physically.
What about, you're talking about a guy named like Matt Millen, and he seems to me the perfect Raider. Boy, he'll take you right in the face and knock you out.
Well, Bub is the kind of guy, you know, it's funny that we're playing the Patriots. I know a lot of guards try to chop Matt. They go low on him because they don't want to take him on up high. And this is one of the guys he loves to play against, John Hanna, because John Hanna will come out and try to knock your block off. And for Matt, that's his game.
All right, now, you talk about the Raider mystique. You once described it as punching, pushing, and pointing.
I've never been accused of being a finesse player, and I never will be. And that's not what they want here.
What about the fighting? I mean, sometimes when the Raiders are flat, and you take a look at this boy's face here, I mean, nice guy, nice guy. When the Raiders are flat, you see a fight break out. And every time I look, I see number 55, which is you, always in there in the middle of it.
We're not a catch-up kind of team. We're a team that has to fight and scratch and do everything we can to stay there, then get a big play and win the game. So when that situation comes up, it's my job, basically. One of the things my job description says. I can show it to you. I have to do something. If I don't do it, most of the time it won't get done.
You know, one of the strangest things is you're one of the few teams that don't have to roll into a playoff situation. You guys could have lost your last game, but if it's a playoff situation, you're always ready to play.
Al Davis is not going to let this team get complacent. Tom Flores is not going to let this team take anything lightly. And from season to season, from year to year, what you see in 1985 is the same thing you saw in 1963, and it's going to be the same thing you're going to see in 2000. Winning a championship is nothing uncommon here. Winning a Super Bowl is the standard. It's the standard by which we are judged by our owner and by our peers, because we expect to be in the playoffs. We expect to win those championships, and we expect to have a shot at that Super Bowl. And we don't celebrate until the Super Bowl's over. And that's only for about 15 minutes, and then Mr. Davis is thinking about the next year.
Well, the Patriots stand in the way of their goal this year. And when you think about the Patriots, it's not the same team that you've seen in the past. They've got 7 guys going to the Pro Bowl, a new coach in Raymond Berry, who has instilled a confidence in this team. He's also created an atmosphere that these guys can go out and play winning football. And being around these guys this morning, they honestly feel like their goal is going to the Super Bowl, and the Raiders stand in their way. Now, talking about some matchups. Michael Haynes may be going against Stanley Morgan. I talked to both these guys this morning, and Michael says the problem that he could have with Stanley is that the Patriots like to run 20-yard pass routes, and that's hard for any defensive back to cover a wide receiver for that long of a time. The only thing that he can count on is Howie Long and company putting pressure on Eason. On the other side, Stanley Morgan feels like if his quarterback gets time, there isn't a cornerback in the league that can cover him and Irving Fryer. It should lead to a very good matchup. We'll come back to talk about that at halftime. All right, back to you, Bob.
Okay, Ahmad, and you may have heard in the background Randy Newman's I Love L.A. We'll see whether the Patriots are singing that song about 3 hours from now. The Patriots are the subject of Pete Axthelm's essay when we return.
Hilton presents the NFL Competition Classics. Dallas Cowboy running back Tony Dorsett's ability to break, corner, and spin out of trouble has helped him to become only the 6th man in league history to rush for over 10,000 yards. On the fast tracks around the NFL, Dorsett is the Ferrari of running backs.
Here he goes.
His ambition gives him a 5th gear, a gear that shifts him into the express lane of easy touchdown.
Ambition. It's the fuel that drives American business. Ambition. It's the energy to go the distance. Ambition. It's the will to win. Ambition. It's the force that makes Hilton America's business address.
Give me a light. No, Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer,
Thanks.
you never know what you'll get.
Nah, give me a light.
No,
Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
The new German-engineered Volkswagen Golf. We made it fast. We made it agile. We made it big. And at this price, we may have made it hard to buy just one. Golf. It's not a car. It's a Volkswagen.
Ever wonder what to do with all those wonderful Christmas presents you never wanted? Return them. And with the money you get back, buy something you can really use. See, American Airlines has these incredibly low winter wonder fares from $29 to $129 anywhere American flies in the continental U.S. If the store won't take the presents back, you can still afford fares this low. And as for this, well, there's always your mother-in-law's birthday.
As they prepare to enter the lair of the big bad Raiders, will the New England Patriots be intimidated today? Not likely, says Pete Axthelm, because now they've got heart.
They have suffered for most of their history with the phrase, all that talent, so few results. They wear red, white, and blue, but fans know they are as American as featherbedding. Like the lucky guys who shoveled coal long after the trains had become electric, the New England Patriots always seem to find the easy way out of contention. Remember the early AFL days when the Patriots actually entered a title game and departed San Diego with a 41-point defeat? Then came 1976, when the Pats were about to devour the mighty Raiders, but the officials frowned on the table manners of Sugar Bear Hamilton, and Ken Stabler survived to enjoy the dessert. 2 years later, Coach Chuck Fairbanks left the party before the band even got tuned up. The talented Patriots finished the season on a very off-key note. Finally, let's blow a horn for former coach Cleve Rush. He once got so despondent that he asked the media covering the team to fill out a lineup. Now that's desperation. But it's time to bury the myths and superstitions. The Patriots have finally added courage and character to their talent. Even if they failed to get past the Raiders today, they will treasure this season as the one in which they rolled up their sleeves and learned at last to do things the hard way, which happens to be the very best way to win.
If you were with us yesterday, you saw Pete Axthelm reveal that he's been receiving hate mail from Giant fans. Hate mail, he says, was written in crayon. He responded with this prediction.
Sharpen up your Crayolas, Giant fans. I have more to tell you. The Bears are going to shut them out.
The Bears are going to shut them out at Soldier Field
Shut
tomorrow.
them down. Whatever color crayon you want to write the score in. Look for like 23-0 in that game. Bob, I apologize I didn't have the score exact. But Giant fans, this crayon's for you. A big 0. And I'm proud of it. I'm sorry we couldn't get the score exactly right.
Only a safety separated you from your 23-0 prediction. By the way, in light of all this antagonism, have they beefed up security around the place? The irate Giant fans are likely to be on the sidewalk by the time this is over.
I'm using this picket line of crayons to keep them out of here.
All right, very quickly, Patriots-Raiders.
Raiders are favored by 5.5. Raiders haven't allowed a touchdown in more than 10 periods. I think they'll keep it up. I think New England Super Bowl was last week. This is the day the Raiders will win. Raiders minus 5.5.
All right, Axe, the introductions are underway at the Coliseum. Let's go out there now and rejoin Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen. We'll see you at halftime.
Number 38, Roland James. All right, Bob Costas, as you can see, even down at the far end, the peristyle end of the Coliseum, folks starting to settle in. That would be the crowd that would be in the high 80s. The New England Patriots are being introduced now. There's the Pro Bowler, cornerback Raymond Claiborne, a good friend of Mike Haynes, who is a Pro Bowler also, the former Patriot, now with the Raiders, and the crowd salutes the silver and black, the Los Angeles Raiders, and Howie Long apparently will be introduced first. Howie Long, he voiced the feeling of these Raiders. They feel when they start each season that they are a Super Bowl champion. Anything less than that might as well be a losing year. 3 times Super Bowl champions. This year they have a design that would take them to their 4th and equal the Pittsburgh Steelers record. Took that run for 15 years on this turf with the Los Angeles Rams.
That's always a highly anxious moment down there. Those players really want to just get this game underway. It's the waiting that takes the emotional toll.
Both teams with plenty of class. 7 Pro Bowlers with the Patriots. The Raiders will have 4 men in that Pro Bowl game. There's one of them, Mike Haynes. The Raiders and the Patriots play for the chance to meet Miami next week. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
From Houdini to Whodunit, it's magic the way they solve murders. Hal Linden and Harry Morgan crack impossible cases in Black's Magic, premiering tonight.
This winning moment is sponsored by Sports Illustrated.
Super Bowl VII, 1973. Washington is driving, but Billy Kilmer's pass is picked off by Miami's Nick Buonaconti. Miami will score and take it all, 14-7. For the Dolphins and Buonaconti, a winning moment. For Washington, a painful loss.
Split right, 688 right on one. Ready? Right. All right, old fellas, have a good one now.
How's it feel when each season gets a little bit tougher? It used to hurt till Tuesday. Now it hurt till Friday.
Hey, man, not today.
Rookies.
Take it easy on Mr. Large.
Let's go easy on Mr. Large.
Come on, back it up. Let's go. See you later.
But I've been here before. And I'll be there on Sunday.
Sports Illustrated. Get the feeling. Getting where you want to go takes more than hard work. It takes intelligent planning. So Manufacturers Hanover Trust offers financial planning seminars and private consultations. They show you how to use credit and investments to keep more of the money you make and make more of the money you keep. They show you how to use our money as well as your own to build yourself a more rewarding future. Financial planning from Manufacturers Hanover. We realize your potential.
Kids, drugs, wasted. Thursday night at 7:30.
The National Broadcasting Company is proud to be the network of Super Bowl 20. Today, from the Memorial Coliseum in Los Angeles, California, it's the AFC Divisional Playoff game. The New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Raiders. Brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Hewlett-Packard, the people who turn your business computing problem into a business computing solution. And by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. Crowd in Los Angeles, the largest of this weekend. You can see the aftermath of an evening and early morning rain. The Los Angeles Raiders and New England Patriots ready to go. The Patriots, who had not won a playoff game in 22 years until last weekend against the Jets. The Raiders, as we have documented, always expecting to be there, Merlin Olsen.
No question, and waiting until last. All three other positions decided for this playoffs, I think, has even heightened the anticipation here. Tremendous adrenaline and emotion pumping on the field.
It's interesting, the other three games, one by the favorite, one by the home team. That would seem, obviously, to favor the Los Angeles Raiders. We've talked about the many great stars we're going to see today. 11 Pro Bowlers in this game, 7 for New England, 4 for the Raiders. But there are two players, and interestingly, they are at a glamorous position that may be the most unpopular players on these two clubs.
The two quarterbacks, and obviously the quarterback has more opportunities to affect the outcome of the game positively and negatively than any other player on the field. Let's look first at Tony Eason, and he has had an up and down season. A season in which he was able to get off to a very bad start, sat out for a while with Grogan on the field, and came back and has played very well. Still has thrown 17 interceptions, part of the negative side of his job. One of those big interceptions, this play in the earlier game against the Raiders. There were 3 turnovers in that game, resulted in 21 Raider points.
And 2 of them were on-pass interceptions for touchdowns. That one by Lester Hayes. The other was by Sammy Seal. There have been some ugly banners chronicling the ill feeling that Patriot fans have toward Tony Eason. On the other hand, Mark Wilson, people don't seem to believe in him yet here in Los Angeles.
Well, the Raiders are quick to point out they've only lost 2 games with him at the helm. But Wilson has indeed had his ups and downs. What the Raiders would like to do is to take the burden and put it on Marcus Allen today. Let him run, as Eric Dickerson did yesterday. The Patriots, on the other hand, want to take away the running game, put all the pressure on Mark Wilson.
So basically, we could say that the defensive scheme for Raymond Berry and the Patriots, they want to take out Marcus Allen the best they can, force the Raiders to win with Marcus Wilson.
That's exactly what they'd like to do. Now, Dick, one other thing I think is really worth mentioning here. If the Patriots are going to win today, they've got to be able to do something that is kind of interesting. They believe they have enough speed at the outside wide receiver positions, and Ahmad Rashad talked about it, to challenge the cornerbacks, Hayes and Haynes. If they can get time for their quarterback Eason and do that, they can force the Raiders to change their defensive scheme. That really gives them an advantage.
Well, a man in his own quiet, taciturn way that has done such an outstanding job and voted as the AFC Coach of the Year in a couple of polls already, Raymond Berry, the star with Unitas of that great sudden death game against the Giants back in 1958. Berry, a man who always overachieved, and he's asked a talented team to live up to their potential, and they have, winning 12 and losing 5 against a team that had the second best record, the Raiders, to the Chicago Bears, Tom Flory's LA team.
And on the other side of the field, I guess we probably have the two most placid coaches in the NFL. Flory's a little more animated, but they are a very calming and steadying effect on their two teams. And what a great record Flory's has.
The Patriots, Merlin Olsen, won the toss and elected to receive. In a game of this importance, sometimes coaches feel they'd like the other team to get the ball first. And maybe that's what Flory's is thinking about right now.
Both these teams, I think, a little more confident in their defenses. And indeed, you'd like to put your best unit on the field.
You saw that the Raiders have been to the well often and have succeeded. 3 Super Bowl championships, 2 and 4 limited playoff experience for the Patriots. We're underway. The spinning kick by Barr. Deep down to Stephen Starring. 81 for the Patriots, and he is nailed at the 22-yard line. Return of about 25 yards for Starring, a former college quarterback. Here is that Patriot offense led by Tony Eason, third-year man from the University of Illinois. He'll be protected by an outstanding line. Pete Brock, the center. Those two fellas on the top, Holloway and Hanna, are Pro Bowlers. Wooten and Moore on the right side. Stanley Morgan and Irving Fryer, dangerous on the outside. Lynn Dawson, better blocker than pass receiver at tight end. Tony Collins and a 1,000-yard rusher, Craig James, the running backs behind Eason from the 21. Craig James for 4, maybe 5. Into that black jersey defense, and oh, how the Raiders love that image. They wanted to wear black. It's their favorite color. Piquel on the nose had a big season, had 12 and a half sacks to lead the club, but it's Howie Long, who's just a brilliant player, and Sean Jones for the injured Lyle Alzado. The linebackers are Martin McKenzie, the rookie, Millen and Van Pelt. Hayes and Hayes, they like to play man-to-man. McElroy and Turan at safety. That's Morgan in motion. James again, a big hole, and Craig James has a first down at the 38. McElroy made the tackle.
Talking to Matt Millen just the other day, he said he thought the thing that James does best is cut back against the grain, starting to the outside and looking for that opening. He goes back inside, finds a gap in that defense, and is all the way into the secondary before they can get a hold of him.
Well, there's a player here in Los Angeles cheering for James today, Eric Dickerson, who set a new NFL playoff record yesterday. College backfield teammate of James at SMU. Eason to Collins, almost right into the arms of the Raiders.
Dick, James and Dickerson had dinner together on Friday night, and I asked James, I said, what did you tell him? He said, gee, I don't know, I wish I do, but I hope he brings me as much luck as I brought him.
He wishes now he'd eaten the same meal that Dickerson did. 248 yards yesterday in the win just down the freeway in Anaheim to set a new NFL record. In fact, exploding Keith Lincoln's old mark, 42 yards better. From the 38. Little delay to James outside and tripped up at the 43, maybe the 44. Bill Piquel made a good ankle tackle just as James trying to sprint into the clear.
Dick, I mentioned the importance of getting time for the quarterback to throw the football. Probably the most important factor in that is to be able to establish the running game. Both of these teams, I think, offensively coming out with the same thought. Make them respect our run game.
Patriots Patriots 9th best offense and the Raiders the 4th best defense in the NFL. Eason with the crowd trying to help the Raiders. Collins outside gets a block and has a first down at the 50. Make it the 49 of the Raiders. Barnes made the tackle, and Collins, a good ceiling block on the corner, was able to get outside for the first down.
Looking at it from the end zone, you'll see the little toss right here. And one of the nice things about this Patriot backfield is they are unselfish. Both Collins and James willing to block for each other. There was also a fine block on that play by tight end Dawson, Len Dawson.
John Hanna, 73, the All-Pro, 8 consecutive Pro Bowls, also out there throwing the key block. First down, first invasion of Raider territory. Eason, complete, and is it a completed pass?
Yes, it is.
And the Patriots, no, now they wave it off. No signal initially, and then the sign. Stanley Morgan not able to tuck that one away.
Let's go back and take a peek at that. You remember, he's only got to get both feet down on the ground after he gains control of that football until it's declared a legal reception.
No, he did not get both feet.
All right, he's hiding in there behind a defender, but the officials looking from another angle had that one cold.
Morgan, the all-time career leader for the Patriots and the best yardage per catch ever in the NFL, averaging 20.5 yards every time he's caught one. James, and the corner shut off by Howie Long. Colorful defensive star from Villanova, Howie Long.
Howie singled up on the right side. He moves all up and down that line. You saw Holloway getting a hold of his face mask there. Now, I guarantee you that Howie Long will make him pay for that somewhere during the game.
A loss of a yard. It'll be 3rd and 11. Just underway. 3 minutes have been played. Patriots with the opening kickoff, driving to midfield, and now 3rd and long for Eason, and he's in big trouble. Sean Jones, number 99. He's played 3 games since Alzado was injured, 5.5 sacks in those 3 games, and he picks up a -14 on that play.
Jones will come from the right side as Eason is back in the shotgun, and there is no protection there. Howie Long coming from that right end position. Pickell, there are 5 Raiders there. That's a jailbreak on Eason, and that's not a good sign for this Patriot offense.
To kick, Rich Camarillo, 5th best punter in average this year with that 42.9 mark. Fulton Walker, who set an NFL record for yardage returned on punt.
That's a line driver.
21.
Whoa.
Fumble. Free ball. And who's got it? No signal yet. It appeared that a white jersey was on it, but then they were in a tug-of-war.
They're still in a tug-of-war down there. Some of the best fights in football are at the bottom of those stacks when the fumble is loose.
It's New England's ball, and the first big break goes to the Patriots. Raymond Berry's special teams come up with a fumble of Fulton Walker.
One of the big concerns of this offensive team, at least the special teams, was the line drive punt. Fulton Walker had it there, and too much time, I think. That ball loose on the ground, and there is the ball being picked up. Here's the look from the other side of the field.
And number 28, Jim Bowman, a rookie from Central Michigan, will be late coming in on the play. And there he is on the right of your screen. And apparently he's the man who covered the ball. His first fumble recovery. He was talking to me yesterday. He said, I want to make a big play tomorrow.
Yeah, he's made a big one here early.
Didn't take long. So the break for the Patriots from the Raider 22. A pass play. James is 2 for 2. Make it 3 for 3 this year. He hits Tony Collins. The only difference with that one from those during the regular season, his other 2 went for touchdowns.
A real heady play by James. His first look on that play was downfield to Irving Fryer, looking for the touchdown. Looked like he finally was able to turn back inside and realizing that that was a dangerous pass, through the safe pass.
A gain of about 7.5. So it's 2nd and a long 2. Dawson, the tight end.
And just as the Chicago Bears had capitalized on a giant mistake in that game earlier today, the Patriots come up with a touchdown off the turnover on special teams. That's a good scramble by Eason getting to the outside. This was something that the Raider defense was concerned about. He runs well. He gets extra time here. He throws it to a man who's well covered. Dawson covered by 30, Turan, but he throws it high enough to get over Turan's hands and into the hands of the tight end.
What a great throw. The 6'3 Dawson leaping high above the defender. Tony Franklin adds the extra point. A 13-yard touchdown from Eason to Lynn Dawson. Dawson did not catch a touchdown pass all year, but he has a big one early in this playoff.
Champion rock climber Ron.
It's Lepet. No one would believe him until they played down against the Dolphins, and his friend said, hey, Lepet. So finally, just a couple of games ago, they got the right pronunciation.
They did get it right, and happily so. And he doesn't care what you call him. Just say, hey, I intercepted that football.
From the 36, Craig James. Little misdirection did not fool the Raiders. Number 54, Reggie McKenzie, up to make the tackle, the rookie from Tennessee. That was the first throw by Wilson in playoff competition. He mopped up for Jim Plunkett in Super Bowl 17, but did not throw a pass, and his first pass today is intercepted, and that's why the folks here have been grumbling about Wilson, even though he's 11-2 as a starter after the injury to Jim Plunkett. Cornerbacks of the Raiders right up on the line of scrimmage. Eason down the middle, wide open is tight end Derek Ramsey, and a first down at the 36 of the Raiders.
The Raiders' scheme of defense tries to make you play on the long field. They cover everyone tight and count on the pass rush to force the quarterback to throw before he's ready. Look at how much time Eason had. And because of that, they were able to get the tight end open down the middle. There he is coming down. Derek Ramsey, a former Raider himself, and apparently someone either blew that coverage, well, maybe McElroy late in getting there. Hard to tell. It might have been a linebacker who should have been on him early.
29 yards on the play and a first down for New England. They lead 7-0, and James ducking in for a yard.
Dick, this quick start by New England may offer them another option. One of the questions that was asked, can they play the kind of conservative football they played in the last part of the season with Eason at the helm against the Raiders and win? With a fast start, touchdown on the board, and another quick turnover, they may be able to do that.
And they have to have their feelings buoyed by the fact they scored against that Raider defense. L.A. did not allow a touchdown the last 2.5 games. Collins wrapped up by McKenzie. Long was there as well. But Reggie McKenzie, he and his twin brother out of the University of Tennessee, both as long shots. Reggie, a 10th round pick. His brother Raleigh, I believe, was an 11th round choice of the Skins, and they both made NFL rosters, and Reggie as a starter.
There are a lot of people, I think, asleep at the switch this year that this young man didn't get more recognition as Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's been in that starting lineup and performing well all year long.
A loss of 5 on the play to make it 3rd and 14. Both wide receivers to the right. Morgan split left. And they run James left. And apparently either false movement or delay of game.
I think they clock and run out on him, and they are going to charge them for delay of game.
Jerry Markbright, the referee.
Delay of game. Offense. Turn down.
While we have a chance, we might note that this is a hybrid crew. These are not officials that have worked with each other all season long, but by merit have been joined here. There's 160 years of officiating experience represented by the Zebras today. 87 college years and 73 combined years in the NFL. James, not much there to the 42-yard line. They're out of field goal range, we would think. And yes, Rich Camarillo will come in. Rod Martin spearheaded that defensive charge.
I think that's the conservatism that I talked about a little earlier. Running in an obvious passing situation out of that shotgun. Barry's philosophy, very simply, let's not make the mistakes. Let's make them beat us. Let's not beat ourselves.
Here's Raymond Barry. Boyish looking 52. 20th round draft choice himself for the Colts, and now a Hall of Famer. Colton Walker at the 10 for the Raiders. Blocked! And it takes a big Raider bounce all the way to the 20. Raiders ball at the New England 16. Recovered. Greg Townsend, 93, was a man who hammered it right off the foot of Camarillo.
The New England Patriots got the quick break on a turnover on special teams, and the Raiders come right back to force the mistake here. Townsend stretching out right to the foot of Camarillo, and they have it on the 16-yard line.
That's a 44-yard play for the Raiders. Marcus Allen for about 4.
Here's the tail end of that play. You see the stretch and the knockaway right there. That ball going right back. He really caught a hold of that. Knocked it in the air some 20, 25 yards. And then there's the ball rolling. Barnes there to get it. Grab it, but he's down on the spot.
Allen carrying for 4 yards. As you look at Greg Townsend, man who beat the big defensive play from Texas Christian University, a third-year defensive end. Raiders trying to tie it up. 5 minutes left, first quarter. Wilson through the hands of Christensen. Todd Christensen, who caught 82 passes this year. Again, leading the Raiders. He's averaged 85 catches the last 3 years.
Wilson making a good choice and a good throw here, and the usually reliable Christensen. Well, it is thrown behind him, but believe me, that's the kind of catches he makes day in and day out. Practicing on the field, you got to hang on to that kind, especially when you've got a chance to get in there and score some points.
3rd and 6. Threw it away. Dokie Williams on the back line of the end zone, but Wilson didn't take any chances. Fires it away, and you hear the boos of the Raider fans.
I think Mark, feeling the heat from the fans and the sideline as well, turned to the sideline right after that play to partly explain his action. I think there was a defender between himself and Dokie Williams. He put that one over the top to avoid the interception.
Veteran Chris Barr to try the field goal. It will be about 30 yards as you see Dokie Williams running his pattern. Wilson to hold. Greg Townsend's block punt leads to a Barr field goal. It's 7-3 Patriots.
Mount Hood, Oregon and Old Milwaukee both mean something great to these guys. Mount Hood means the best summer skiing in America. And Old Milwaukee means a great beer. Cold, crisp Old Milwaukee beer and smooth, golden Old Milwaukee Light.
There's nothing like the flavor of a special place and Old Milwaukee beer.
Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light.
Man, it doesn't get any better than this.
The more things cost, the better they are. That's not always true. Consider Barbasol. Barbasol has as thick and rich a lather as any other leading foam, but Barbasol can cost half as much as the higher-priced foams. Consider also Barbasol Glide Stick Deodorant. It has a fresh, clean scent like any deodorant should, but Barbasol can cost as much as $1 less than the high-priced sticks. Barbasol Shave Cream and Barbasol Glide Stick. Great toiletries for a lot less money.
Taurus, now there's an American car with the shape and the feel we've never seen before. Taurus, now there is a personal car that has exactly what we've been looking for.
For all of us who will not compromise, Ford listened. Ford created Taurus for us.
For us. Taurus for us. Taurus for us. Have you driven a Ford lately?
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC. Next Saturday, the Hula Bowl spotlights Lombardi Trophy winner Tony Casillas, running back sensation Napoleon McCallum, and the nation's top senior All-Americans in their final collegiate appearance. The Hula Bowl. College football's best and brightest are on NBC Sports.
Welcome back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. Earlier today at Soldier Field, Chicago, the Bears shut out the Giants 21-0. 2 shutouts on the NFC side. Barr's kick to Stephen Starring. A bit of a gamble by Starring, and he does get it to the 20, but a flag goes down, and one would suspect that'll go against the Patriots.
It appeared to be a break-even gamble for Starring, who probably should have stayed in that end zone. He got back to the 20, but if they mark it back to the 10, that was a little bit of a costly mistake.
Illegal block, number 51, on the run back.
Brian Ingram guilty of the foul. And so New England will start from just inside its 10-yard line. Special teams, Merlin, why is it when we get to the playoffs, you usually see more conservative play, more running, but also the big plays on special teams?
I think in part, Dick, it's because emotions are running so high, and that means players are a little bit faster. Maybe their decisions are not quite as good. That decision was not good, the block on the back.
Each of the 2 games today featuring a big early special teams play. Landana's failure to punt leading to the Bears' first score, and we've had 2 big turnovers here. Eason going again to the tight end, Ramsey. That's the 3rd completion to the tight end, 1 for a touchdown to Lynn Dawson. Matt Millen on the coverage. We'll be selecting the Michelob Most Valuable Player for today's game. Why don't you watch along, see whom you would select as today's top honor, and we'll have that for you later in the game. Sun trying to break through. There is some blue sky off to our right toward the east. After morning showers, field is in superb condition. 2nd and 5. Tony Collins stopped short. Former star at East Carolina, who has become quite an outstanding blocker, helping Craig James, and has handed off the star running role to his teammate Craig James, and he's doing the blocking for him.
Down in the trenches, a good nose tackle. Bill Pickell against Pete Brock. Let's just turn it loose and watch these 2 gladiators hammer it out down there on the line of scrimmage. Brock with that good leg drive. You saw him driving Pickell off the ball. If that continues, you'll see more and more plays up inside.
3rd and 1. James, he doesn't make it. Howie Long there. And the hole was filled along with Long by Sean Jones.
Well, Pickell was driven off the ball the last time. What happens here? Pickell pushes Brock into the hole. Well, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. It's 1-1, at least in the last 2 plays, between Pickell and Brock. And between great players, that's the kind of battle you have. I'll win 1, you'll win 1. You look at the end of the day to see who has that little bit of an edge.
Camarillo will punt from around his 10. Walker back at the Raider 38. Oh, that was close to being blocked. Terrific kick. Walker at the 32. 40, dances to the 44. 49-yard punt, 17 yards on the return. Mosi Tatupo eventually will make the tackle. Look how close Camarillo came from a second one being blocked.
Idea can happen anytime. When you work for Hewlett-Packard, you don't just sell business computing systems, you solve problems. So when you have an idea, you do something about it. You never stop asking, what if?
You know that electronic mail project for the bank? What if we used HP methods?
fire, muscle, and sweat. Polish it to razor-sharp perfection. We're looking for a few good men with a medal to be Marines.
The game that counts, the pressure mounts, the kickoff's almost here. I know the way. Now you're talking football. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
This winter on NBC Sports, all the excitement of college basketball is back.
2-on-2. Rivers behind the back. Oh, my.
I'll even give that an oh my, Dick. It all begins Super Bowl Sunday. College basketball at 1 Eastern. It's the stuff Sundays are made of on NBC Sports.
Another outstanding lineup of college basketball on NBC, perhaps our best schedule ever. So we'll look forward to sharing all the excitement from the colleges and universities around the country, January, February, and March. First down, Raiders at their 44, Marcus Allen. Outside to the New England 48-yard line. That was Allen's third carry of the game. He picks up 8 yards and has 12 for the first quarter.
Well, and in Al McGuire's terminology, I think that's an aircraft carrier, right there.
Well, he's more than a PT boat. Allen, who led the National Football League with those 1,759 yards, led in total yards, in fact, set a new NFL record. He picked up another 555 on pass reception, 67 catches. Allen again, hurtling to the 45, appears to have a first down. Andre Tippett made the tackle.
We mentioned Andre Tippett and the impact and the intensity that he brings to the game. He is so strong, 240 pounds. Look at him attack Todd Christensen there, and then just throw Christensen to the side and quickly get inside to make the play.
He certainly would rate an impact player. Tippett, 16.5 sacks. That was just a half a sack behind the NFL leader, Richard Dent. Howie Long will be watching him, although only 10 sacks. That's misleading.
He's created more than that, believe me.
Allen, a little delay. On first down, has 2 or 3 yards. In fact, Howie Long said he's going to paint himself like a duck. I said, why? He said, because I'm a decoy. I might as well look like one.
Well, they move him up and down the line, Dick, and they really do force a team to look for Howie Long. You talk to... You talk to Roddy Manning from that offensive line in New England. He said that's the first thing you do. Where's Howie? And then you work from there.
And that's probably how the Raiders feel about Tippett. Where is he? Second and long. Wilson. Ooh, dangerously close to being tipped into the hands of the Patriots. Todd Christensen. Pass was a bit too tall. Julius Adams applying pressure on Wilson.
Julius Adams playing in his last year of football, and certainly if they win, he goes on. He said, this is the longest I've ever played. I can't believe he's still the quickest off the ball of those defensive linemen for the Patriots. You saw how it paid off there. He was the man that forced the early pass from Mark Wilson.
Julius, who will retire at the end of this season, go back to his home in Macon, Georgia. He has a farm raising Black Angus cattle. Good move by Wilson. And he has the first down inside the 35.
That ball rolled loose as Wilson hit the ground. Jerry Markbright quickly there to say not a fumble. It will be first down Raiders. And that's something that Mark Wilson has done more and more effectively as the season goes on. Watch Tippett. He is going to chase Wilson at the end of this play, and watch him try and reach for the ball. Right here. Tries to snap that ball out of Wilson's hand. Mark carrying it low. A dangerous play. Could not quite reach that football.
Garin Veras, a rookie from Stanford, number 60, finally made the tackle. First down Raiders at the New England 34. Final seconds, first quarter. Marcus Allen. 2 or 3 hard-earned yards for Allen. who has been described as unreal, and he had even a better season than those in the past. He scored 58 touchdowns in the 56 games in which he's carried the ball. Final seconds tick away, and that is the end of the first quarter in Los Angeles. The Patriots 7, the Raiders 3.
Big boys got what it takes. Full tilt, all out, holy flakes. Nothing halfway, nothing sweet. Just a great big crunch of good whole wheat. Yeah, hey, banana, move aside. These big flakes got nothing to hide. Wheaties, Wheaties, good whole wheat. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
I'm Howie Long of the Los Angeles Raiders. My wife Diane and I are new parents. This is our new baby Christopher, and we want the best for Christopher and for all children. That's why we're United Way volunteers. There are 3,300,000 problem drinkers in the age group from 14 to 17. If we've gotten even one child not to use alcohol, then we've succeeded. Through your support of the United Way, we can all be winners.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Even if you can't get to Super Bowl 20 in New Orleans, you can still get the official game program. This big 182-page magazine about the Super Bowl is a collector's item. You'll relive Super Bowl's past, enjoy a week-by-week review of the season, scouting reports of the contenders, and much more. The authentic Super Bowl program. Send your check for $5 plus 95 cents postage and handling to Super Bowl 20. Post Office Box 20, Trenton, New Jersey, 08651.
2 turnovers, the key statistics. New England using the fumble recovery to get a touchdown, and the Raiders the blocked punt. Actually not a statistically an official turnover, but you have to think of it in that regard, and they got 3 out of it.
That big 0 in passing yardage, I'm sure, jumped out at all of you at home. Mark Wilson has yet to get this passing game for the Raiders on track.
Start the second quarter, 2nd down and 7. Marcus. Oh, is he clever? Always seems to be just that half step out of your reach. Just when you close in on him, it appeared that the Patriots might have him for no gain. He picks up 5, slithering to the outside.
Eager on that play to get upfield, but still waited carefully all the way out.
Allen 6'2", a sleek 205 pounds. Dokie Williams and Jesse Hester to the right. Todd Christensen, the tight end, to the left. 3rd and 2. Wilson tipped and incomplete. Intended for Todd Christensen, one of the New England defenders. It appeared to be Roland James at safety, able to get a hand on it. 55 Don Blackman there as well. And here comes Chris Barr in the field goal unit. Wilson will hold. It'll be a fairly long attempt by Barr, who kicked his longest of the season in the last game against the Rams, a 51-yarder. This one will be 45. Plenty of leg. Hits the upright and skids to the outside. No good. So Barr, a bit unlucky, hits the wrong side of the bar, and it's wide right, and it remains 7-3 New England with 14:10 left in the half.
Somewhere on the interstate, Sarah works and Sarah waits. She longs for her Prince Charming, and he's turning up tonight.
I dream he's riding high with me. I want the man who holds the key. He's really something special, and he's driving in a Dodge. Jimmy, 4 wheels planted firmly on the ground. Give me a new Dodge truck to turn my
Coffee?
To stay?
Uh-huh.
To Dodge, I say thanks a lot for my ride to Camelot. Where you going, it's Mick alone. The other side of your life. Hi. I'm glad you're here.
Hey, how did the doors turn out? Oh, right.
Where you going, you always know.
No other beer is brewed and aged like
exceptionally smooth Michelob.
We're going, it's Michelob.
What's black and white? Smooth, but rocky. Unpredictable. Colorful. Mysterious, but playful. And very, very big.
The big island of Hawaii. There's no place like it on Earth. And there's no airline that can take you there like United.
Let the friendly skies bring the big island alive.
Today's game is brought to you by America's best back trucks. At Dodge, we don't just talk tough, we prove it. By exceptionally smooth Michelob. Where you're going, it's Michelob. And by John Hancock Financial Services, meeting today's needs with a range of financial products. 14 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second quarter. The New England Patriots leading the favored Los Angeles Raiders 7-3. The missed 44-yard field goal by Barr, and Eason sets up at the 27. Good protection. He goes deep, and the closest player was McElroy, the safety of the Raiders. One receiver, Fryer, went to the inside, and Morgan to the outside, and Eason threw between them.
Both the wide receivers off to the right on that particular play, and they were trying to force that ball deep, get it deep. They're still trying to get that speed match against those Raider corners.
Hayes and Haynes at the corners, each with 4 interceptions this year. Lester did not make it to the Pro Bowl, and Mike Haynes was selected again. Howie Long right on the nose. And they try to run in that direction with Tony Collins. Jeff Barnes secures the tackle.
We asked Pete Brock what it's like to have Howie Long on his nose. Well, we lost a little bit of his answer, but there's Howie, who comes inside. One of the things that makes him so tough, and Pete told me this before the game, is that Howie can rip with either arm. He's not either predominantly right-handed or left-handed. That means he can go either way. You can't overplay him.
Eason on 3rd and 8. Has to eat it. Mike Davis. For the second time, they used Davis on a safety blitz. And it's worked on both occasions. The Raiders were second only to the Bears in sack count. They had 65 in the regular season.
Coming from the left-hand side of your screen, number 36, Mike Davis. And one of the defenders there leaning in before he should have taken his concentration. That's Wooten, number 61, the guard, who's the option pickup man. Did not see Davis coming, and it was a costly mistake.
Camarillo to punt. Fulton Walker back at the Raider 38. Wobbly boot. Walker at the 34. Ooh, juggles. Stays on his feet. And he's to the 47-yard line. 47-yard kick, 13 yards on the return by Fulton Walker, former West Virginia Mountaineer. Timeout, 12:48 remaining in the half.
Grace sure looked good tonight, didn't she?
Yeah.
So how much you making now?
Huh? I'm going fine.
You got to be making at least 25.
I'm fine. Maybe a little better than that.
30? Tell me yes or no. Are you making 30?
Yes.
30?
Around 30.
Got any investments? Any stuff?
Got the car.
That's not an investment. You got an IRA, life insurance?
Not really.
You're making 30. And you don't have anything like that. What do you think? You're 18 years old or something?
Fuel-injected Dodge Lancers come with optional turbochargers, and you can't expect that kind of power to stay put.
It's the boys' night out, and they're cruising around. The boys' night out, and they're doing the ground.
We just can't keep them in the showroom.
January's champions take to the greens. Only the best, only the winners will tee off of the Tournament of Champions next Saturday on NBC Sports.
I'll say one thing, Merlin Olsen. I would like to own one of the airlines that fly from Oakland, San Francisco to Los Angeles on football weekends. A lot of those fans are from Oakland.
You bet they are. There's still a loyal group of them that come all the way down here for games week in and week out.
Marcus Allen. His longest run takes the Raiders to the 39, and with it a flag. They have been a face mask. 14 yards on the carry by Allen.
We have a 5-yard face mask foul on number 31 defense. It's first down.
So Fred Marion tagged for 5 more.
Right at the end of that last play, you see the hand reaching in by Marion, and you see Marcus's head snap back underneath that pile. Good vision by the official to spot that one. And Marcus is stretching his knee as he lays there on the ground. They're out to check him out, and of course,
Kenny King has replaced him in the backfield. Wilson. There's his first completion. It goes to Doki Williams on the near sidelines at the 21-yard line. First down, 13 yards on the play.
Got to believe that Mark Wilson saying to himself, all right, finally got one of those suckers in. Doki Williams able to get Lepet to turn away and then broke into the sideline. It was a fine play by the Raiders. They put a lot of pressure on you. They like to run those patterns deep, and they're a little out of sequence. Looks like Marcus is all right on the sideline. That's good news.
King, who carried for only 67 yards all season. Instead, it's to Hawkins, the big fullback from Nevada Reno, plowing to the Patriot 13-yard line. Larry McGrew made the tackle.
We usually see Frank Hawkins in his role as blocker for Marcus. Here the role is reversed. Number 73, Charlie Hanna, playing here on the same field with his brother Hawk Hanna, gets a good block on that play on Don Blackman, 55, to help make that run possible.
We'll see, of course, John Hawk Hanna. When the Patriots have the ball, Allen is back in and leaping close to a first down. Appears to be about a half-yard shy at the 10.
I talked to Hawk Hanna, and he said that he and Charlie were going to have dinner on Friday night. And I said, "You going to talk football?" He said, "No, it's against the rules." But he said, "I'm going to tell him he looks a little tired, and I hope he can take a rest while I go on to the Super Bowl."
Well, they both wear the same number, easy to spot, 73. There's Hawk Hanna. Some have called him the greatest lineman ever. Charlie, who has played both guard and tackle, now settling into the guard position. It's enough for the first down. And the ball spotted just outside the 10, so Tom Flores' Raiders can get a first down without a touchdown.
Larry Kennan signaling from the sideline there as he stands next to Tom Flores. The Raiders went to a signal system to call the plays when Plunkett went down with his injury. Mark Wilson having the plays called for him. That's a first for this Raider team.
Doing that dance of his, looking for the opening. A flag is down. It's interesting that Steve Grogan was calling his own plays for the Patriots until he was injured. So the veterans, Grogan and Plunkett, called their own plays, whereas their replacements had them signaled in.
And I think, Dick, that those are two of the last quarterbacks, along with the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks, that are going to have that option. That's a dying breed, the quarterback that calls his own play.
Holding, number 65, offense, first down.
Mickey Marvin, the right guard. First Los Angeles penalty. Remember back when Paul Brown was succeeding year in, year out with the Browns, and he used the messenger guards, and everyone thought, oh, that'll never catch on, sending in your plays from the sidelines. Well, Brown, as was the case in so many areas, ahead of his time by a couple of decades. Now everyone's doing it. Steve Grogan. He was activated a couple of days ago as a couple of screws in that broken tibia around the knee of the left leg. You saw that injury against the Jets back a month and a half ago. After the penalty, wide open, touchdown, Hester. Jesse Hester. from Florida State, the Raiders' #1 draft pick, and Los Angeles leads for the first time. Barr's extra point down the middle. 53-yard drive in just 6 plays. Wilson to Hester, 16 yards for the touchdown.
Jesse Hester had some trouble early in the year working into this new system. Great speed, and you see right there some pretty shifty moves. That little shake absolutely froze Raymond Claiborne just long enough to let Mark Wilson get that pass off. Look at Claiborne trying to react, but he's too late, coming inside out, and Hester has the touchdown.
At the other end, Mark Wilson. Yeah, he knows the way and has to be pleased that he has his first touchdown throw this afternoon.
We talked about the 2 young quarterbacks making the big plays positively and negatively. Wilson is glad to see that positive touchdown on the board in his column.
Wilson, part of that tremendous line of quarterbacks to graduate out of Brigham Young University. Raymond Berry back to his notepad.
That's Ron Humanik he's talking to. Humanik has done a great job of working with the offensive line. They cut their sacks by 60% on the year.
Barr kicks it off. Short to the side, and on the wing it is Cedric Jones, toppled at the 24-yard line. So Eason and the New England offense on the field. Otis McKinney made the tackle along with Fulton Walker. Here comes Eason. Brother Bo is here, former star at UC Davis, Houston Oilers defensive back, rooting for his older brother. Patriots start from their 23. 10-7. Raiders lead for the first time. 10.5 minutes left in the half. Tutupu fumbles, and the Raiders have it. Howie Long was in control before he went out of bounds. He's everywhere.
We gave you a look earlier at the impact players, Howie Long and Andre Tippett, and it doesn't take Howie Long to make the impact here as he scoops that football up, and if he could have gotten himself up the sideline, he'd have had a touchdown. Let's see if we can see who knocks that ball loose. Looked like Rod Martin, number 53, reaching in, and then the collision right there. That ball already started to break loose. Stacy Turan put his head right on the ball.
So they start from the 17-yard line, a pickup of a yard or two by Marcus. Here's a handsome giant, Howie Long, quite a character. He admits he's on his own planet. He said he's going to stay there for about 10 more years. When he retires, he's going to become a normal human being.
Well, the Raiders have defensively done this all year. They put enough pressure on you to force the mistake. And that's something that the Patriots have really played well. They have, last week against the Jets, 0 turnovers. It was the key to their win, I think. Today, they have made some of those mistakes.
And Tutupu, who rarely fumbles, coughs it up on his only carry of the half.
What do you call those in tennis? In tennis, forced errors? Those are not unforced errors. Those are forced errors.
Ball at the 15-yard line. The officials talking with both sidelines. I don't know if the communications from the press box are out, if that's what that's all about.
Well, if it is, you'll see them take off the headsets on both sides of the field.
Or there might be a malfunction in the clock. Well, Mr. Markbright perhaps will tell us. Motioning at the big clock at the far right of the Coliseum.
Yeah, we're told that it's one of the clocks, I guess the clock on the right-hand side that is not working, so...
Tutupu fumbled only once all season. And has it knocked away by Rod Martin today. It's 2nd down and 8 at the 15.
A quiet man, Raymond Berry, but what intensity he's brought to his team. Quiet intensity, but it is there.
lead, the Raiders. Marcus Allen is wide open. But good reaction by Raymond Claiborne to stop him for a short gain of 3.
How often you see a player victimized, makes a bad play, and that energy and that emotion and that adrenaline is pumping. Claiborne comes right back and makes a big play there to keep Allen, who is so deceptive in the open field, from making any yards after he caught that pass.
Another whistle by referee Jerry Markbright as he looks at that clock.
Dick, I talked about the intensity of Raymond Berry.
There's a problem with the clock. We're checking on the clock.
Okay, we'll let you do it, Jerry. Pete Brock talked about Berry this way. He said, if a guy with his integrity and honesty tells you he can win, tells you that you can win, pretty soon you start to believe him. And I think maybe that was the most important contribution that Raymond Berry made to this New England team, was convincing them that they could win, and then helping to show them how to do it.
And then when they did win, and even when he won some honors as Coach of the Year, not taking the credit himself. He said over and over again, I didn't carry the ball once, I didn't catch one pass all year. My players did it. Said he learned his football from quite a student himself, his father. They said that's where it all began. His father has been a highly successful Texas high school football coach for many, many years. Marcus Allen. Touchdown, but a flag is down. Beautiful blocking by the Raiders, but perhaps in the way they're reacting, it's against New England. Touchdown will hold.
After a shaky start, these New England Patriots very quickly establishing the silver and black, establishing their dominance here in the first half.
So the fumble recovered by Howie Long at the 17. A couple of plays later, Marcus Allen from 11 yards out. And now the Raiders have moved into a 17-7 lead.
Marcus Allen behind the block of 27 Hawkins. Get a block inside Mickey Marvin and Henry Lawrence. And then he just puts it in the air to go over the goal line. You wonder why Marcus is open on that play. You get a chance by seeing some of the good blocks there. But right at the end of that play, that has to hurt to come down after being twisted like that and drop right on your back.
Well, you've heard that expression, nose for the goal line, a desire to get in the end zone. That picture would be the illustration in the football dictionary. Less than 2 minutes, the Raiders have gone from 7-3 down to lead 17-7.
That last play. There's the block by Hawkins, 27. Really a nice block to help open the way.
The 31. Fred Marion looking back as if to say, what was that, a guided missile going through there? So the Patriots, after an early 7-0 lead, have seen the Raiders flex their muscles, and with 8:53 left in the half, need to do something themselves to turn it around.
Raymond Berry may have to change his philosophy a little bit. May have to start reaching for the big play, reaching for the big ball. They have played through the latter part of the season very close to the vest, very conservatively. In this kind of game, especially when you're down by 10 points, you got to go for the big ones.
Barr to kick it off. Stephen Starring is the deep man. Well kicked. Starring will take the touchback at the 20, and let's pause for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
With Merlin Olsen, this is Dick Enberg. Welcome to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, where the Raiders lead the New England Patriots 17-7 in the final of the 4 playoff games this weekend. The 2 NFC Games decided by shutout. The Rams winning 20-0 yesterday, and today the Bears over the Giants 21-0. Miami had to scramble from behind to knock off the upstart Cleveland Browns. And here, after the Patriots led early, the Raiders taking charge, and Craig James rumbling for 16 yards on that first down carry before Turan and McElroy, the two safeties, can bring him down.
Howie Long from his left end position working on big Steve the House Moore. You just see Steve's head right there. Steve has got to be about, what, 305, 310. They listed him at 285. There's no scale I know of that would register in that way. But he locked up Howie Long on that play and neutralized him.
First down across the 35. James again to the 39. Home field advantage. Of course, the very fact that a team is home in the playoffs means they've had a better record, Merlin Olsen.
They earned that. They really earned it, Dick. Beyond that, here in the Coliseum, I would not feel that this would have as much advantage to the Raiders as New England's home field at Sullivan Stadium would have to their team. Weather is not a factor. It's nice today. This is not a noisy crowd, in part because of the build of this stadium.
Good fake by Eason. Wide open is James. 40, 50, all the way to the Raider 37-yard line goes Jesse Craig James.
Well, you want a little razzle-dazzle. You want someone to go for the big plays. Raymond Berry pulling it out. Les Steckel calls the plays upstairs. A little bootleg and a rollout. It fooled the Raider defense, and James all alone makes a big gain on that play.
Here's the other end of it as James. He was 15 yards in the open when he caught the ball and then just sprinted up the sidelines before Jerry Robinson knocked him out of bounds at the Raider 37. 7 minutes, 22 seconds remaining, first half. Eason. Stanley Morgan, one-hand catch. Morgan was so casual about that, didn't think he had it. He just reached out and hooked it as he went out of bounds. And watch Morgan, 86, the great star from Tennessee. And Eason scrambling, and Morgan had to ad-lib his way to the outside, and look at that. Hello. Oh, he did not have control as he went out of bounds. He was green. His back to our point of view. It appeared that he had made the play, but shows you the adroit skill of Stanley Morgan. 2nd and 10 from the 37. Tutupu. He's in the open. To the 15-yard line. Mosi Tutupu. He played here in this field for Southern California and blocked for Anthony Davis and Ricky Bell, Charlie White.
From the opposite side of the field, you'll get a chance to sense this play. Tutupu cutting back against the grain. Play started to the left, taking advantage of a quick slide by the defense. Tutupu with good vision and good movement gets downfield. He's usually a blocker, not necessarily a running back.
His longest run of the year was 11 yards. He doubled it on that carry. James breaking a tackle, and he's inside the 10-yard line. Rod Martin made the hit, and all you have to do is find a number 32, and you're going to see some offensive action today.
Extra effort. What happens after that first contact? I think that's how you measure the great backs, at least one of the ways. And James giving you that extra effort, giving you that surge, good leg power to get about 3 or 4 extra yards after he was hit.
2nd down and 4. 17-7 Raiders. Collins, nothing there. It appeared the hole that Collins wanted was totally shut off, tried to dart to the right and gained only a yard. Reggie McKenzie there first.
They love to run in behind the big left side of that line. Hog Hanna, Brian Holloway, 2 Pro Bowlers over there. When you put when you put it back in behind them like that, there's usually room to run. But Reggie McKenzie did a good job of shutting it off from his linebacking position. Not much at all there. On a third down now, lots of substitutions in. Critical play, New England offense.
Plenty of time remaining in the first half. They go with a third wide receiver, Cedric Jones. He's to the right. Eason drilling it, incomplete. A flag is down. Howie Long might have been offside.
There was movement along the line. I don't know whether it was Howie or one of the offensive linemen. We'll let Jerry Markwright sort it out.
If it's against the Raiders, it's a first down for New England.
Offside. Defense. First down.
That means that Jerry Markwright didn't know who it was. And Howie says, who is it? Who did it? I want to know. Well, sometimes you just see that black helmet and that silver along the line. Maybe we can show it to you. Let's see who is offside. Well, right there, and it looked to me like Holloway may have started to bail out a little early. I don't blame the Raiders for being upset, and Long, who was on Holloway, was complaining because of that.
He reacted to his opponent's backward move. Indeed, he was into that neutral zone and encroachment, but his argument, he was pulled in there. With the penalty, it's first and goal inside the 5.
What a nice drive. Strong drive by that New England offense.
But not for that last call, though. They'd be lining up for a field goal instead of first and goal.
Howie's still talking to those officials. Here's that shot again. Now there's the movement by Holloway. He cannot start back. That's drawing Howie out of his position.
That's an advantage of not being down in a three-point stance. It's not as obvious when you're pulling back. Collins wrapped up, no gain. Stacy Turan in his second year from Notre Dame. He has replaced Mike Davis now at that strong safety position. 30 Turan.
Two very fine defenses on the field. We saw the Patriot defense earlier in this kind of situation. In fact, after that first turnover, forced the Raiders to go for the field goal, kept them out of the end zone. Right now, it's the Raiders who are trying to do that to the Patriots. You saw Tom Ramsey there signaling. We'll look at that again later. Ramsey signaling in the plays to Eason from the sideline.
Seem more involved in his signals than we've seen some teams use. Give it to Robert Weathers, and he is dropped after a 2-yard gain. McElroy and McKenzie. That's a Big Mac tackle.
We mentioned that this offense loves to run in there behind Hog Hanna and Brian Holloway on the left side of that line. They get Pete Brock lined up in there. They got 3 number 1 picks with those 3 side to side in there, and they were just hammering on that play.
Timeout called by New England with 3 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the first half. Critical third down coming up for the Patriots.
Last year, Dodge made a very dramatic announcement. In a very dramatic way. We announced that every truck we build, every full-size pickup, van, wagon, and Ram Charger comes with our 5-year or 50,000-mile protection plan. And back then, we challenged Ford and Chevy to match that coverage. But you know what? Ford and Chevy still fall short. Dodge, still the best back trucks in America. And that's guaranteed.
Only $9.95. We'll tune your transmission, keep your car in drive. Edge brought the transmission tuner can save you from those transmission failure blues.
Avoid those transmission failure blues with Gibraltar's $9.95 tune-up special.
At the Wall Street Journal, we believe that building a dream takes more than luck and hard work. It takes a vision of what tomorrow holds today. At the Journal, we've been giving people that vision for over 90 years. The Wall Street Journal, the daily diary of the American dream.
Monday, Dirty Harry meets Cagney and Lacey's Time Daily.
What do you have to carry that cannon for?
Because he hits what he aims at. Clint Eastwood is the enforcer. Monday.
17-7, the Raider lead with just under 4 minutes left in the half. 3rd and goal from just outside the 2-yard line. New England trying to close within 3. They don't want a field goal. They've talked it over on the sidelines. Shotgun. And a handoff to James. He's got a blocker. He's got a touchdown. Hog Hanna pulling, and that little inside handoff out of the shotgun that has worked so well for the Patriots throughout the year.
You wonder why a man has been called the best lineman in all of football's history, professional history. We'll show you in a moment what Hog Hanna did on that play. And just a moment ago, we saw him burying somebody on the play previous. But, Dick, the secret to that play is the ability of this team to run out of that spread formation. Very few teams have the good running plays out of the spread formation.
Tony Franklin to try the point after. Bad snap, but a good job on the hold by Eason. And it's 17-14. Hog Hanna, number 73.
John Hanna, right in the middle of your screen. Here he is, folks. He's just going to step out of there and pull to the outside and lead that convoy. Here he comes. I don't think I'd want to get in his way. Look at it right here. Stacy Turan right at the ankles and takes him off his feet. A lot of folks can make a touchdown if you get that kind of blocking.
Well, a lot of folks have never thrown or tasted a cross-body block, and that was the illustration. Watch it again. 73. Right down there, hitting and rolling, and Turan with no chance, and James stepping into the end zone to make it 17-14.
That's the little forward handoff. Again, Raymond Berry has only had a year to get his offensive program established in New England. He was there for a short time last year, but he has only had a year to really put in the kind of offense he wants. And I asked him, do you have everything in? He shook his head. He said, no way. But it's more important for us to work on execution than it is to have a huge number of offensive plays.
And something else. Ray Berry is always thinking this year in the minicamp, he had all of his wide receivers work out one whole day as a defensive back. They practiced as a defensive back, went to the defensive back meetings, that maybe you'll pick up something, just one little item that'll help you as a wide receiver understanding the men you're working against. Fulton Walker caught and fumbles, and who's got it? The Raiders. Oh my. Walker trying to break free from that initial hit and was really nailed on the second wave and lost the ball, but fortunately for the Raiders, it winds up in Matt Millen's hands.
Maybe we can see this. Those of you who weren't with us early, Fulton Walker had a fumble on a punt that set up the first touchdown by New England, and that's just a fine play by Williams coming from the backside. Ed Williams, number 95.
Ed
Reynolds to knock that ball loose. He's the guy who plays behind Andre Tippett. He doesn't get much flying time in there.
Johnny Revert, 52, held him up, and then Reynolds made the hit. Marcus Allen trying to reverse and finally has to eat it for a loss at the 15-yard line. Let's go back to the play that could have been so critical. Patriots almost coming back with the football.
Watching it all the way into the hands there. Now watch the hit. Now this is something else that Raymond Berry has had his team working on, is stripping the football, working to knock that ball loose. And you saw the arm rip in there behind. Well, I tell you, it's tough to hang on to that football when you're being clobbered and somebody is ripping up underneath there with an arm.
Allen losing 4 yards on the first carry as Tony Eason checking with upstairs. Wilson. Intercepted. The Patriots have it at the 28-yard line. Ronnie Lepet has his second steal of a Wilson pass in the first half. Not well thrown at all.
Mark Wilson very upset, I think, with Dokie Williams, his receiver. He is throwing to a point on the field that somebody's... Well, looked like Lepet
knew where it was going.
He knew where it was going much better than Dokie Williams did. And Dokie has got to drive for that football. That's a timing pattern, although the Raider quarterbacks are trained not to throw that football until that receiver is driving out of the break. That ball in the air a little bit early.
30-second clock shut down completely. please shut the 30-second clock down. It's not operating.
Well, that's one way to take care of it. 2 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the half, and the Patriots, after it appeared that the Raiders really had taken charge of the half, scoring 17 unanswered points, suddenly New England with a chance for the lead.
And another of those big negative plays by Mike Wilson.
Tony Eason with Robert Weathers in the backfield, along with Craig James, and that's James following Weathers, and right into the midst of Rod Martin.
One of the things you have to know about this group in that black and silver uniform is that they don't quit on the field. They don't know how to do that. One of the big play people right there, 53, Rod Martin. I got playing with him in the dressing room the other day, put a hammer lock on him. He had me on the ground before I could wiggle. He's a powerful player, a big play linebacker for that Raider team.
2nd and 9. There's a comparison of the two lead runners. Craig James, 53 yards. Marcus Allen, 55. Each with a touchdown. Whistle, and...
No, we don't have a 30-second clock, do we?
No, that's a 2-minute timeout. The clock had ticked down to 2 minutes, and the official timeout. There you see the signal.
Going to both sidelines.
So timeout here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The New England Patriots in field goal position, trailing the Raiders by 3.
Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. It'll be an
expressway to your heart.
Since I hung up my size 19 sneakers, Dave and I get together for a few light beers from Miller.
And argue about who was the greatest player.
You were the greatest.
No, Bob, you were.
At least we agree Light's taste is the greatest.
Yep, Light's also less filling. And you can't afford to get filled up when you're the great Bob Lanier.
Come on, Dave. You won the MVP and the championship. Those were the two biggest feats in basketball.
No, Bob. Those were the two biggest feats in basketball.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Here at Hewlett-Packard, we believe that the best way to solve your business computing problem is to make it our problem. Because we know that whatever system we design for your company, we're going to live with it too. We never stop asking, what if?
Wait a minute. They have this incredible backlog of data requests.
You're right. What if we used the 3,000?
We have so much to talk about on NFL 85, and understand they're going to be chatting with the victorious Chicago Bears. The Bears will host the Los Angeles Rams next Sunday for the NFC title. That means that either Miami or the Raiders will be the host team in the late game. If New England wins, it will be at Miami, and of course the Raiders with a win will stay right here and host the Dolphins. 2nd down, less than 10. Fake reverse, and that will be an incomplete pass. It was a forward pass. Incomplete. Howie Long was right in the thick of things again for the Raiders.
Lined up right on Pete Brock. Down in the trenches, the two of them nose to nose. Boy, they could... You can see every eyelash there, and you see why Easton had to get that ball off. Long in there, and Martin both in very quickly on him on that last play.
You used the expression, a rip move by defensive lineman. Was that what we just saw, where you just throw that forearm out, just try to brush that offensive player away?
This Raider defensive line very good at pushing with one hand and then ripping up underneath with the opposite arm.
3rd and 10. Over the middle, incomplete. Aimed at the tight end. No, it was not. Stanley Morgan underneath was the intended target. Jeff Barnes broke it up. And here comes Tony Franklin with a 44 or 45-yard attempt that would tie it. Trying to take advantage of Lepet's second interception of a Wilson pass here in this first half.
See Franklin stamping things down. He's
Rumpelstiltskin out there.
preparing the spot where he's going to kick from. Now watch him. He'll step back carefully after stomping that grass down. He knows where the ball is. The finger of the holder, Eason, marks the spot.
45-yard attempt, and it's good. We have a new game in Los Angeles with 1:45 left in the first half. Each side was 17.
Al Davis, in conversations earlier, talked about his choice of opponents. The one team he least wanted to play in the AFC, the Patriots. As you watch Franklin's longest field goal in the playoffs, you might remember going back to Super Bowl 15 that these Raiders blocked one of his field goals. He was in a green and white uniform then when he was playing for the Eagles just before the half in that big game. I wonder if that was going through his head here today, remembering that play, which kind of helped to cement that Eagle loss. Well, here, Franklin has kicked the ball through the uprights to take this game back to even at 17.
Ronnie Lepet's interception leading to the tying field goal. Tom Flores in his 20th year of coaching and with the Raiders as a head man in his 7th season has a chance to win 100 games in 10 years, and only 2 other men have done that in their first 10 years in the NFL, Don Shula and John Madden. Flores has won 70 games in 7 seasons, so if he just maintains that pace, he'll get his 100. Franklin, short. Walker at the 9. Boy, good coverage downfield for New England. Number 54, Ed Williams, down there in a hurry. Well, we'll be pleased to be calling the championship game of the American Football Conference next Sunday. It'll be the late game of the doubleheader. The NFC game will be early, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 here in the West for NFL 85. Miami has its position secured. You can bet the Dolphins are rooting for New England today. They'd like to be home for the AFC title game. Raiders win, then Miami has to head west. Marcus Allen. Boy, you can look at the pads pop and Andre Tippett losing his helmet as he was in on that action.
Tremendous penetration on that play. Roland James, 38, is the man who goes in underneath it. We don't see him, but he cut down 2 of the defenders, and then Tippett put his hat right into the chest, and as it bounced away, he made the tackle. Boy, there's some hitting. You could hear that shot all the way up here in our booth, and that's got to be, what, 100 yards away there?
Now, those are the headliners, the marquee men that we talked about back at the start of the game. Allen and Tippett, 2 huge stars. It's deep, and Lepet covering Doki Williams well.
Dick, I mentioned a moment ago that Al Davis really preferred to play either of the other opponents or many of the other opponents rather than New England. The reason for that, he did not like the matchups. That big offensive line of the Patriots, he was concerned about them and their ability to control the defensive line. Concerned about the speed matchups at the receiver position. And really, that was his thinking. He felt that they could handle Miami. He said, we've done it before, we can do it again. He liked the matchup against the Jets, but he was really concerned about New England, and you see why in the first half of this game.
A minute and a second left in the half, so it's a big third down play for Wilson. Otherwise, the Patriots going to get a chance at the ball. Wilson gives to Marcus, and he has the first down. Out of bounds at the 36-yard line. And one of the notes of importance in this first half, Ray Guy has not had to punt. That means, more importantly, Irving Fryer, the best in the NFL at returning punts, has been kept out of that particular play.
The downside to that, however, is that the Raiders have kept him off the field by throwing interceptions on a couple of occasions, and that is not a happy note. But right now, you have a sense that if there is a confidence balance in this game, and I'm sure there is, that at some point in the game, if it stayed this tight, it might come down to who has had the most experience in this kind of game. And that certainly would favor the Los Angeles Raiders.
Jerry Mark right again. There's some problems with the clock. 47 seconds showing and waiting patiently. Marcus Allen, just to update his statistics with that last run. Allen now has 72 yards in the half. Allen
along with leading the NFL, the first ever Raider to win the rushing title in the National Football League, setting a record for most total yards in a season, and also 9 consecutive 100-yard games. That ties Walter Payton's record set earlier in this same season. Marcus Allen ready to jump back on stage when we return.
Where you going? It's Michelob.
This is it. Opening night.
Brian? Party of 2?
You're on your way to the top.
Flavor's just great. No other beer is brewed and aged like exceptionally smooth Michelob.
Table for 2?
Oh, that'll be about 45 minutes.
We did it.
Where you going? It's Michelob.
As a senior for Southern California, Allen rushed for 2,342 yards in winning the Heisman Award. He was a great star at San Diego High School, and in his 4th season in the NFL, voted the most valuable player in this league. I mean, he just, wherever he's been since his youth, Allen has brought greatness to a team. 47 seconds remaining in the half. Well,
he brings greatness with him. He arrived to join an organization that has kind of set its own standards.
The reason we've had several delays here in the first half that the clocks just have not functioned properly, and that's been to the frustration of Jerry Markbright, the referee. We don't know if that 47-second, well, the 30-second clocks were turned off long ago. We don't know if the 47 is an official time. Here comes Tippett. And the throw to Christensen. And Tippett forced Wilson to throw hurriedly.
Larry McGrew, number 50, the man that was covering on that play. And you'll see him as he comes out to join Christensen on this play. Todd working to the outside. Roland James trying to get over there. The ball well behind him. I think Mark may have been throwing. Ooh, look at the little bump right at the back there. You saw number 60. That's Garen Veras, who had such a big week last week with 3 sacks against the Jets.
Second down and long. Christensen. And he's bumped out of bounds at the 34. That's very close to field goal range now for Chris Barr, and plenty of time.
Todd Christensen, 3 years he's been over 80 catches. What an amazing record of consistency for this young man. Pass on the last time for Mark Wilson was not on target. You can't throw that one any more perfectly.
There's a man drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, and Mike Ditka, then an assistant coach with the Cowboys, tried to make him into a tight end. He said, no, I won't play that position. I want to be a running back, and failed with the Cowboys, and now a Pro Bowl star at that position with the Raiders. Allen twisting and turning to the 23. 10 more yards for Allen. Timeout, 29 seconds left.
Body control so important. Allen jumped right over the top of Steve Nelson on that last play. Watch the penetration by Steve Nelson, number 57. He dives right there, and Allen just picks up his body and lifts up over the top. Now that is amazing, to be concentrating on what is opening up, what's ahead of you, to still have that kind of presence and that kind of body control.
You know, he's like so many great backs. Gale Sayers had it, thinking going way back. Doak Walker had it. The players that never seem to get hit hard. I mean, no matter what position Allen is in, you never really seem to get a real clean shot that really nail him hard. Well, golf is around the corner. It's a nice way to start the 86 Golf Tour. That tournament used to be later in the season. This is the reward to all the champions of tournaments in 85, and this is how they'll start 1986 from down in La Costa. Don't forget, the final round is on Saturday. They'll begin on Wednesday. So Saturday, you'll see the final round at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, part of a sports doubleheader, the 40th annual Hula Bowl to follow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So a big sports Saturday on NBC, and of course on Sunday, we'll be featuring the AFC Championship game, Miami against the winner of this one. It's tied at 17, 29 seconds remaining. First down, Raiders.
Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark.
Good protection. And it's Todd
Christensen battling to the 15-yard line. Timeout, and that is the last timeout for the Raiders, we believe.
Todd Christensen. I was asking some of the coaches about the patterns he runs, and very often Todd's patterns you can't chart. You see there why you can't do it, because his philosophy just get open. Now, particularly on that play, which was a delay, faking the block on Tippett, and then at the last moment rolling to the outside. I believe he was probably a secondary receiver on that particular play.
Perhaps one of the timeouts earlier that we had charged to the Raiders was a timeout because of the clock malfunctioning. I believe now the word is that the Raiders still have one timeout left with 20 seconds remaining.
Well, that being the case, you better believe that they'll go for the score here and then take a chance after that to get the field goal. Good protection on that last play. This Raider offensive line, and especially since they put Don Mosbar in there at center, have really done a good job of stabilizing the offense and doing a much better job of protecting Mark Wilson.
This drive now has taken the Raiders inside the Patriot 15. 2nd and 2. Wilson. Closest man was Frank Hawkins, and he had a couple of white jerseys around him. 15 seconds left in the half.
Well, I think you'll see another shot at the end zone. There's no sense quitting now. Plenty of time. You still got your timeout, so you can stop the clock. Wilson's choices were not there. No one open. Good coverage, good protection on the receivers by the New England secondary, so he threw it away.
4 completions to his teammates, and 2 have gone to the Patriots. Chris Barr, if he does have a field goal chance, it'll be a short one. 3rd and 2. And Marcus Allen covered by Steve Nelson. And Wilson, under pressure, had to dump it off, and with 10 seconds left, number 10 will come in, Chris Barr, for the field goal.
The heat was on. Both outside linebackers, Blackman and Tippett, coming hard. Although Wilson was able to step up, he could feel the pressure, and he threw it away.
Barr's 3rd attempt of the half. He was good from 29. He missed from 44. This one will be 32 yards. And the Raiders have the lead. Drive, but a frustrating end for Los Angeles. They certainly thought they'd get 7 out of that and had to settle for the 3, and a 20-17 lead with 6 seconds remaining in the half.
Quarterback coach Larry Kennan and Tom Flores there to talk to Mark as he comes off the field to ask what he was seeing. Very often, you know, it's interesting, Dick. You come off the field, you're charged with emotion. The coach will say, "What happened out there?" You tell him what you think happened. Then you go and look at the film and you say, "Hey, that wasn't it at all." Very difficult to bring good information from the field to the sideline. And that's why it's so important to have coaches up here in the press box looking down. Very often, they can be much more objective about what's happening on the field.
And it's just true in basketball. On the bench or in the baseball dugout, those are the worst seats in the house. Mark Wilson replacing Jim Plunkett, the veteran who has performed more than one miracle. And there's Jim, the former Stanford star, won the Heisman back in 1970, was drafted #1 by the Patriots. Injured so many times with New England, traded to San Francisco, finally given up for lost, and he found a new home with the Raiders and took them to a couple of Super Bowls. 3 seconds, 2 seconds left, and 1 second, and they'll have a chance for a final play since the clock stops on the possession change. The way the Patriots responded on that kickoff, one would think they're not going to take any chances on one long play.
I don't think they're going to risk anything here down on their own 20. I think you'll just see them sit on the ball here. There's Les Steckel, who calls the plays, quarterback coach, receiver coach for the Patriots, standing next to Barry, the former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
It's had some interesting flows the first 30 minutes. The Patriots on the board first after an early turnover, and the Raiders scoring 17 unanswered, only to find New England coming back to tie it, and then a field goal in the final seconds, giving the Raiders the advantage at the intermission. Los Angeles Raiders 20, the New England Patriots 17. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
From the creator of Murder, She Wrote, meet Alexander Black.
He's got to be Houdini.
But now he solves whodunits with flair and a shot of charm.
I could come back another time.
His dad's an old con man, a master of deception.
Have to read between the lines, son.
An unbeatable pair on impossible cases. Hal Linden and Harry Morgan, Black's Magic, premieres tonight.
When you need a business loan, does your bank seem to take forever?
It should be any day now. Any day. Any day.
At United Jersey, our bankers value your time as much as your money. We approve some commercial loans in 3 days or less.
Mr. Gavin, you'll have the money in your account on Thursday. Yes, this Thursday.
If time means money to you, talk to United Jersey, the fast-moving bank.
How's it feel when the game is on the line? It is up to me.
Come on, Buck. We only need one now. Come on.
Come on, Bob. You can shoot the ball. You can do it. Come on. One more.
Oh, man. I've been here 1,000 times. Settle down. Come on, ball. Come on.
Sports Illustrated. Get the feeling.
Detroit's auto pricing competition on Strictly Business tonight, 11:45.
Hi again, everybody. Bob Costas with Pete Axthelm in New York. We'll be checking with Ahmad Rashad out at the Coliseum in just a moment. The halftime score. The Raiders in front, 20-17, a game that seesawed. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Steve Grogan along the sideline for the Patriots after those leg injuries sustained against the Jets several weeks ago. He's been reactivated, but for now, the team is in the hands of Tony Eason. And we'll see Eason go to the air for the first touchdown. This followed a fumbled punt by Fulton Walker of the Raiders that gave the Patriots possession. 13 yards on the catch by Lynn Dawson in the end zone. After a Chris Barr field goal moved the Raiders to within 7-3, Mark Wilson, who did not play well during the first half, nonetheless gets this 16-yard completion to the rookie Jesse Hester. The Raiders have the lead at 10-7. Howie Long recovered a Mosi Tatupu fumble. The Raiders took over again, and there goes Marcus doing what he does so well. Airborne for the 12-yard touchdown. They lead by 10 at 17-7. However, the Raiders see their lead cut to 3 on the Craig James touchdown that completes an 80-yard drive for the Patriots. That brought them to within 17-14. A Tony Franklin field goal, a 45-yarder, tied it up at 17, and then just before the gun, Chris Barr hits a 32-yarder for the Raiders. They have the lead at 20-17, but some interesting aspects of that first... Wait a minute. While I'm doing this, you've gone to wardrobe for a change of costume. I can only assume that the irate phone calls of Giant fans, and they have gathered in the street outside Rockefeller Plaza, I understand, they have driven you to an incognito position.
Bob, I don't know who they're looking for. Did someone pick the Giants to be shut out today? Am I supposed to change the score for them? What do you want, Giant fans? Let me make a few things clear. I like the Giants. George Young is a terrific executive. Phil Simms, the quarterback, a prince of a guy. Even though I even like Giant fans, I just think that their sharp objects should be removed and they should be given crayons, as we emphasized.
Let's turn this down. All right, now let's talk about the Patriots and the Raiders. Now, although the Raiders do hold the lead, they were guilty of 3 turnovers. Ronnie Lepet, as he now prefers to be called, going the Tony Dorsett route with the mid-career change of name with a couple of interceptions. The Raiders were -8 for the year on the giveaway takeaway table, one of the worst figures in the league, and they gave it up 3 times. For that matter, New England lost it once and also had a punt block.
Of course, the Raiders break all the rules. We know they get more penalties, they get turnovers. They don't care. They say, we'll do it our way. We will seize the victory. While I'm on the subject of people I don't like, forget about you Giant fans. Jerry Markwright, what was your crew looking at when Brian Holloway pulled Howie Long offside? Of course, the Raiders a possible touchdown.
Yeah, that was the 3rd down situation at the 9-yard line before the Craig James touchdown, and they might have had to settle for the field goal. It looked as if Holloway had drawn Long offside. Instead, the call went against the Raiders, and the drive was sustained, and James was able to score from the 2. Rushing statistics...
Since you removed these glasses, my vision is approximately Jerry Markwright.
That's... Pete Axthelm's comments. Craig James with 53 first-half yards unofficially. Marcus Allen, 10 carries during the first half for 82 yards for the Raiders, and they lead it 20-17. Let's go out there now and join Ahmad Rashad. He's standing by at the Coliseum. Ahmad?
Bob, how you doing? First of all, let me congratulate Axe on his pick. I knew he never liked the Giants anyway, and Jerry Markbite says hello. talking about this game. Going into this game early, I talked to some of the Raider coaches, and what they wanted to do was pick on Ronnie Lippett. They didn't want to mess with Raymond Claiborne because he's a Pro Bowl cornerback. Let's take a look at an early play. Now, when you try to pick on a cornerback, Lippett knows that this is where they're going to come because they're all pro guys on the other side. He's aware of this play, and he makes a great play. A heads-up play here, comes up with a big interception. But I don't think that they're going to stay away from him. They'll still try to work on Ryan Lippett and stay away from Claiborne. But what that does for Claiborne, sometimes he tends to relax, thinking that they're going to go to the other side. Right here, you see Jesse Hester taking Claiborne for an easy out ball on a touchdown. I think it's just because all of a sudden Claiborne relaxed and they went on ahead and got this touchdown here. But you know what the Raiders have a chance to do is that every time they play a team, they break up their game plan by challenging each player man-to-man. They want to break it down to a man-to-man confrontation, and that's the way they dominate. We're going to take a look at a play by Marcus Allen early in the first half where he takes a run. Let's roll that play. Now you see Marcus Allen, he's coming to his right side. He sees the goal line. He breaks up the middle, and this is the kind of play that fires up the entire Raider offense, the Raider team for that matter. He dives into the goal line. But the thing about the Patriots, I talked about the Patriots earlier, they didn't quit. They came right back. They got a 2-yard touchdown. They got a field goal. They tied the game up 17-7. The Raiders came back, kicked a field goal. They lead it at halftime 20-17. We've got a whale of a ball game here because the Patriots are not going to give up, and neither are the Raiders.
Ahmad, talking about challenging people one-on-one, Hayes and Mike Haynes shutting Morgan and Fryer down in the first half.
You know, the key to that whole thing, Bobby, they've shut him down because Howie Long and company have put pressure on Eason. He hasn't had a chance to throw the long ball, and they're going to have to continue that during the second half, or else these guys are going to break. They're like a time bomb, both these wide receivers, Morgan and Fryer, because if you ever give Eason time enough to throw, he'll find these guys deep for a big score.
Okay, Ahmad, we'll check with you later after the ball game is over. 20-17 in favor of the Raiders at halftime. Now in the game that Axe is gloating about, the Bears advance to the NFC title game, which will be next week at Soldier Field against the Los Angeles Rams with a 21-0 win over the Giants. Third shutout of the year for the Bears. Even more impressively, it's the 12th time that they have held an opponent to 10 points or fewer this year. The Bears had 6 sacks. Richard Dent played a terrific game. The Giants were unable to sack Jim McMahon. Joe Morris, who started strongly on the first drive, held to 32 yards rushing on 12 carries. He was not a factor after the second quarter. A couple of injuries. He took a hit on the head and also injured his shoulder. Walter Payton carried 27 times for 93 yards on the frigid day at Soldier Field. It was an appropriate surrounding for the matchup between these two clubs, meeting in the playoffs for the first time since 1963. Also an icy day on that occasion when Y.A. Tittle and the Giants lost to the Bears 14-10 in the NFL title game. So Dennis McKinnon caught a couple of passes, by the way, for touchdowns in the second half from Jim McMahon. It was 7-0 in favor of the Bears at the half. They go on to win it 21-0 and eliminate the Giants from the playoffs. After the game, Bill McAtee was at Soldier Field in Chicago. He talked with the superb linebacker of the Bears, Mike Singletary.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Costas. We're here with the NFC Defensive Player of the Year, Mike Singletary, the linebacker for the Chicago Bears. Congratulations, first of all, on today's victory.
Well, thanks a lot.
Did you give the Giants a different look defensively early on?
Not really. We tried to mix it up just a little bit, but I don't think we showed them anything really different.
Considering the weather, did you feel secure that the Giants would be unable to really pass successfully? And as it turned out, of course, they were unable to do that.
Well, really, the biggest thing today was pressure, and I think the way our guys came off the ball up front, Richard Dent, when we were blitzing the linebackers, Otis Wilson and Wilbur Marshall, and, you know, Hampton and Steve, I mean, they all did a great job.
Was there a little bit of anxiousness because of the 2-week layoff?
I tell you, I don't ever want to wait 2 weeks to play again, but if it means the home field advantage, then you got to do it.
Michael, did you have a chance to watch the Cowboys and the Rams yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I looked at it, and it was an interesting game.
How do you match up against the Rams?
Well, I tell you, it's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I think it's going to be a physical game, and you know, we're going to have to get a
priority. Will be Dickerson.
That's right. Definitely, the priority is going to be Dickerson.
Were you able to see anything that will help you against the Rams and against Dickerson?
Well, not really. The biggest advantage that we have, we played them before. And, you know, he's a great running back, and they've got great guys up front blocking for him, and we're just going to have to get out there and take the challenge.
Mike Singletary, thank you very much for coming out with us.
All right.
Okay, let's send you back to New York. Bob?
Bill, if Mike Singletary thinks about it, he hopes he has to wait 2 weeks to play again at least one more time because that's the layoff between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl. Let's go to NBC News now and Tom Brokaw.
Thanks, Bob, and good afternoon, everyone. Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi said today that Palestinians are justified in carrying out attacks such as last week's killings at the airports in Rome and Vienna. Reporters found Gaddafi sitting on a tractor in the desert near Tripoli. Answering questions, Gaddafi denied charges that Palestinian terrorists are being trained in his country.
If they are here, we can bear my responsibility, but they are not here. They have no need to establish camps in Libya, this place which is far from their field of the battle in Palestine, occupied Palestine.
Gaddafi also warned that if the United States retaliates against Libya for the airport attacks, he will unleash Libyan hit squads that he claims are already in place in the United States. Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres said today that he doesn't buy Gaddafi's claim that there are no Palestinian training camps in Libya. Peres, on ABC television, called for economic sanctions against the Libyans and warned that terrorists, wherever they are not immune to Israeli attacks. And PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat charged today that Syria and Libya were behind last week's airport attacks, that they were attempts to discredit his organization, the PLO, to prevent a settlement with Israel. In this country, a team from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is in Oklahoma today investigating yesterday's explosion at a nuclear plant in the town of Weber's Falls. One worker died and more than 100 were injured when a cylinder ruptured, sending radioactive uranium particles and caustic gas throughout the plant. The Kerr-McGee Corporation, owners of the plant, had no explanation as to what caused the accident. There were tremors again today at that volcano in Colombia where 25,000 people died last November. Yesterday, the government evacuated 15,000 people near the Nevado del Ruiz volcano. Most of those people spent the night huddled in caves on higher ground. 3 men were arrested in New York City today as they allegedly tried to steal more than $18 million worth of antique art. The most expensive item in the batch was a gold tureen worth about $3.5 million wholesale. The men were caught removing the artworks from a packing company. The suspects are believed to be part of an international art theft ring. And the Director General of Polish television resigned today. He resigned on television, and he apologized for sound problems that Polish viewers experienced New Year's Eve. At that time, the Polish president, General Jaruzelski, was delivering a 20-minute message to the nation, but his sound was barely audible. The microphones, it turns out, were under the table. I'm Tom Brokaw in New York. We'll have more news later on this NBC station. Now back to Bob Costas.
Tom, foul-ups like that would never force any of us into resignation. Try to take it in stride. We'll go back to Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen in L.A. after this from your local station.
From the creator of Murder, She Wrote, meet Alexander Black.
He's got to be Houdini.
But now he solves whodunits with flair and a shot of charm.
I could come back another time.
His dad's an old con man, a master of deception.
Have to read between the lines, son.
An unbeatable pair on Impossible Cases. Hal Linden and Harry Morgan, Black's Magic, premieres tonight.
I can't believe the car broke down again.
Keep walking.
We should have bought that Nissan Sentra.
Should have bought a Sentra.
Sentra's America's best-selling import, but do we have one? Oh, no.
Should have bought a Sentra.
The Browns have a Sentra. They swear by it. Drove cross-country. We break down going across the street.
See the left? Yes. Thank you.
See? It's a Sentra.
For quality you can depend on. Name is Nissan.
Kids, drugs, wasted. Thursday night at 7:30.
Well, for those who thought it would be a low-scoring game, a surprise there, 20-17 at the intermission in favor of the Los Angeles Raiders. We set the mood of the game by talking about the many stars we would see. And since we're at midterm here, mid-semester, mid-game, let's go into the classroom of Professor Olsen and see what kind of grades you're going to give the star player. Let's start with Marcus Allen. What do you give him?
Well, Marcus, with 82 yards on the day, certainly has had an A day, but it's not his best day. We'll give him an A-.
Boy, you're tough. Howie Long, then. What are you going to give him?
Howie has had big impact as you watch it here. Long, of course, with that fumble recovery that set up the touchdown, and has had some big pressures on the day. Let's give him an A- too.
Andre Tippett, you think he could do a little better?
I think that Tippett has not been as much of a factor in the first part of this game as he has been in most games and as he was in the last game these two teams played.
Tony Eason, no mistakes, no interceptions, so you give him a B-. And Mark Wilson, as is the case with the Coliseum faithful, he's below average.
Well, let me tell you why I gave him the C-. It's those 2 interceptions. I mean, neither of these quarterbacks has thrown for much of an average or for great yardage, but Eason has not thrown the interception, and Wilson has thrown 2 interceptions, and I got to grade him down for that.
See what you give our producer and director. No, we won't get into that.
Hey, what are we going to get out of it?
We'll leave them alone. Marcus Allen is on course for 160-plus yards rushing again, and he indeed, even though he's the marked man, New England has not been able to really stop him.
One of the reasons you can't stop, even though he is the marked man, and you know you've got to put your emphasis on him, the Raiders have so many other weapons, and they have such good balance, and that's a key word, balance, because it makes so much difference, in particular in the playoffs, that you can't just focus all your energy on that one man.
The Raiders will get the ball first to open this second half. So Alice, a spectator for one play. There are the first half statistics. Total yards, the Raiders, after starting slowly, outgaining New England. Yards rushing about the same, and yards passing, both teams well under 100. Franklin's kick sailing down to Walker at the 4. He fumbled twice in the first half. One recovered by New England, and he is hit hard at the 20, down at the 21-yard line. Number 95, Ed Reynolds, with another good hit on special teams.
Dante Scarnecchia, the special teams coach for these New England Patriots, really has them primed for the day.
And we've got a penalty flag down back at the line of scrimmage for the Patriots, and apparently they were offside.
Offside, number 52 on the kicking team, re-kick.
Johnny Rembert, who had that fumble recovery for a touchdown last week against the Jets, a bit too eager.
Maybe remembering that he went down on the kickoff, picked up a ball that had been knocked around, and scooped it and carried it in for a touchdown. You don't get many chances like that. Maybe he was visualizing another one of those.
Sometimes this situation backfires on the kicking team. They've already made a good stop at the 20-21. Now they've got to go back and make the long run once again. Sammy Seal and Fulton Walker will move up about to the 10-yard line as Franklin gets ready to kick again.
It's interesting, Dick. These two teams have 2 of the best overall defensive and special teams packages in the league. And you got to believe that Steve Ortmeyer thinks that he's going to get a big play out of Walker. He wants another shot at it.
Franklin, who did his kicking at Texas A&M, resetting that ball on the tee and give it a little more angle. Very short. He almost missed it. All the way up to the 18-yard line. Sammy Seal. And a flag down as Seal is tackled at the 35-yard line.
Rod Martin, number 53, coming down, just kind of hipped. Is it Ed Williams or Ed Reynolds?
Ed Reynolds is 95.
95. It's Ed Reynolds. I got it mixed up earlier. Just kind of hipped him out of the way.
On the run back, first down.
Boy, you do have an eye for those guys that get the penalty call, though. You're absolutely right, Rod Martin, and that'll take it back to the 15. So actually, the Raiders come out of that 6 yards short of the initial kickoff.
Well, of course, without the penalty, they'd have had the big play. Here's the last of that play. Now, Rod Martin really tried to make it look like this contact is incidental. Look at him. He just drops his shoulder, and it's a kind of a ho-hum thing and then backs off. And the official, looking at it from the front side, did not call it. The call was way from the backside by another official.
Marcus Allen starting 18 yards shy of 100, and he picks up 5 on his first attempt in the second half. The Patriots allowed only 2 men to rush for 100 yards this year. Kevin Mack of the Browns, certainly a top rookie player in the league, rushed for 115 yards, and Kurt Warner of the Seattle Seahawks 105 yards. In their earlier game, Allen 98 yards, 2 yards shy of that century mark. Working on 10 in a row is Marcus Allen. McGrew, former teammate of Marcus Allen at Southern California, makes the hit, but it appeared Bruce Davis on the left side of the Raider line had jumped offside.
Talking to Larry McGrew, that he said that this was the first time that he and Mosi Tutupu had ever come back to play on this turf since they had left college. And I thought that was kind of interesting. With all the years in the NFL between the two of them, never played a game here.
2 times a Rose Bowl starter with McGrew. Oh, it was not Bruce Davis, but it was the tight end Christensen who jumped offside. There's the look at the top runners, both 1,000-yard men, and Craig James, 53 yards to 88 for Marcus Allen. James with a touchdown. 5-yard penalty makes it 2nd and 10. Right back to Allen. Roland James. Oh, look at Allen just carry the pile for a first down. 10 more yards for Marcus Allen, and that will give him 98 yards for the day.
Marcus Allen, what can you say about this young man except that he just has incredible ability and a great sense for what is important. You know, he'll go down if he figures he's got it already, but when he needs that first down, he goes for it. Look at the wristband on the wrist of Mark Wilson, the quarterback. All the plays listed there. When the signals come in from the sideline, he'll read the play off that man.
The throw to the outside and hit immediately was Dokie Williams. Coming up from the corner, Ronnie Lepet. 2 yards on the play.
You wonder who's calling the defenses for this New England team? Rod Rust. What an incredible year he has had. He has put this team together, and he was, I think, a real blessing for Raymond Berry that he was in place and had this defense cranking. And Raymond Berry, one of his first acts was to say, hey, I want him to stay as long as he wants to stay.
Actually 7 yards on that first down play, and now Marcus Allen with the first down out to the 37-yard line. Andre Tippett made the tackle.
Impact players. We gave Tippett a little less of a grade than we gave Long, but you got to give him a good grade here as he battles with Todd Christensen. Finally throws him aside and makes the tackle. I think the thing that amazes me about Tippett is that at 240 pounds, he doesn't care who you are. He'll take you on, and he attacks those offensive players.
Allen now over the 100-yard mark, 103 yards today. Inside to Hawkins to the 50. And he's all the way to the New England 41, Frank Hawkins.
Well, just a little bit of that wishbone philosophy there. Get him thinking about that outside play and then hit him up the gut. Marcus Allen, they fake the toss to him going to the outside. Watch it. A little fake here, and they hand it back to Hawkins. Hawkins gets away from from Williams on the inside, 72, and then cutting against the grain. That's a trademark of Marcus Allen. He said, I can do it too.
23 yards. That's 2 yards longer than his longest run all year. Allen having trouble with the handoff, but the presence to be able to pull it back to his chest, and a flag is down.
I've seen him do that a couple of times on this drive, and I wonder what's happening. Maybe Wilson is not getting that ball into the perfect position for Marcus to handle it on the handoff.
Appears to be against Los Angeles.
Holding number 79, offense.
Bruce
First
Davis,
down.
who was voted by his teammates as the top offensive lineman for the Raiders this year.
Here's the handoff, and let's see if we can tell what happened to Marcus on this play. Watch him just kind of bobble that ball. Look at it popping loose. His total concentration, never dropped his eyes from what he was doing. That's great confidence. Just worked at handling that football with his senses and with his feel.
First down and 20 from the 50-yard line, and Wilson uses a timeout. A valuable timeout spent as Wilson did not like what he was seeing. We'll be right back.
You don't have to come out here to understand performance. A car has either got it or it doesn't. Now, if having more driving fun makes sense to you, you're going to like Mazda 626. It's got a slick new computer-controlled fuel injection system that gives you a bunch more horsepower to play with. But you can always try to tell yourself the real reason you want it is its good looks and great value.
And forget the performance?
I said you could try.
They say the best ones are the hard ones. These you don't break. You try to reach an agreement. And when you do, you head for the mountains. Head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream, for a taste as smooth as its name. Head for Bush beer. For the mountain.
The essence of bobsledding. The new sled feels like gliding on silk. The essence of shaving. This is new Atra Plus, an incredible advance in Gillette shaving smoothness. The Plus is this unique white strip that releases lubricants as you shave. You never felt anything smoother. New Atra Plus by Gillette. The essence of shaving.
Today's game being brought to you by Mazda. Cars and trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else? 10 minutes and 55 seconds remaining. A huge crowd at the Coliseum in Los Angeles that will number around 85 to 90,000. The Raiders leading 20 to 17, and it's Los Angeles with a first down and 20 at midfield. Hester in motion. Wilson back to the line of scrimmage. Flushed out of the pocket. Don Blackman secured the stop. No gain. And in fact, if it's behind the line of scrimmage, that would be a sack. It's going to be very close. They are ruling that a gain of a foot or so, so no sack on the play.
As long as you move the chains, they're going to give it to you.
There's that same trap play to Hawkins, but the Patriots were ready this time. Larry McGrew did not go for Allen's sweeping ride, stayed at home and made the stop after a 3-yard pickup. Roland James there as well.
Good reaction. The Patriot defense had to be expecting a pass play. Dick, one of the differences in the defensive philosophy of these two teams, the Patriots try and keep everything in front of them. They try and make you work that ball down the field. And they give you some room in front of those linebackers, in front of that secondary. Their thought is that you're going to make the mistake before you can put it in the end zone.
Third wide receiver, Tim Moffitt. He's wide. Oh, Wilson calls time again. And listen to these fans.
I wonder if he's looking down at that. Yes, he was. He was looking at the second clock and realizing that he was going to get called for a 5-yard penalty. He called the timeout, which is what he's instructed to do, but there's great frustration for him. And again, perhaps this is an illustration of the fact that their signaling system is not working as well as it should be working.
Merlin, I question the strategy here, and why is it that some coaches don't say, hey, listen, a 5-yard penalty sometimes is okay. We'll take a 5-yard loss now rather than spending what could be a most valuable timeout later. Now, those two timeouts, rather than two 10-yard penalties, when we look back at it, maybe it won't matter. But I've got to think that somewhere along the line, someone's going to say, hey, go ahead and take the 5 yards.
Well, I think it's a reaction thing for the quarterback. I think they've told him initially at some point, if you're going to run out of time, take the timeout.
Here's Wilson. Of course, he's looking at that clock and could not get the play away. Perhaps was caught up in an audible and didn't like the pinch he was in, but so it goes.
Well, he's upset. And again, let's reiterate that the Raiders, a team that let Plunkett call the plays on the field and so he had more time to operate, have gone to a signaling system with Mark Wilson where they're sending the plays in from the sideline and giving them to Wilson. That takes more time, and it has put this offense at times at a disadvantage.
By the way, Plunkett is not available while the Patriots activated Grogan.
He can't play in that jacket?
No, he can't play on that. But some folks may think, since we've seen him a couple of times, that he has been activated. He has not. The backup quarterback is Rusty Hilger, the rookie from Oklahoma State.
He is available to be activated, however.
Third down 17 for Wilson. And down he goes. Don Blackman with a sack. Boy, that was a rough series for Wilson. 2 timeouts and a very rude sack.
And you'll hear the chorus of boos from the Coliseum audience. There's the shot. Garen Vera, 60, coming from the left side, but there was no way that he could get away. That's a jailbreak. Blackman, whoa, what great quickness from number 55, Blackman, who's had an outstanding year at that right linebacking position.
Ray Guy punting for the first time today. His average was just under 41 yards on the year. And Irving Fryer back inside the Patriot 15. He led the league with over 14 yards per punt return. He won't return this one, apparently, as it is short and a fair catch on the wing by Marion at the 25-yard line. So the Patriots have the ball at their 25, trailing by 3.
AT&T is in fast action. The Buffalo Sabres wanted to sell more tickets.
Sabres ticket office?
We recommended AT&T International 800 service.
I just need your credit card number.
Which quickly expanded their market.
This makes over 1,100 orders from Canada.
And boosted sales 20%.
Sold out.
Another reason to choose AT&T long-distance services. Talk with us. AT&T, the right choice.
If you like your hamburgers 100% all-American, hot and beefy, clap your hands. Big Mac. Quarter pounder. McGee, Big and beefy, you can eat your fill. We got it ham warm and hot off the grill. And warm and hamburger time. It's a good time for the great taste. Can't be alive if you don't get hot. Hot, yeah!
If you're sitting there wondering why in the world a guy would take his truck to the country club, then I guess you just don't know about this Mazda Cab Plus. The more time I spend around it, the more it just plain knocks me out.
Good morning, Mr. Garner.
Morning. When the old clubs aren't back here, there's actually room for 2 adults facing forward just like real people. Hey, I don't know how Mazda makes it so roomy and quiet and so much fun to drive and still so much lower price than the rest. I'll tell you one thing, it might just be the best drive I have all day.
January's champions take to the greens. Only the best, only the winners will tee off of the Tournament of Champions next Saturday on NBC Sports.
And now, friends, another lesson on inside football. I want you to teach me that. You said the rip move. You kind of brush them aside. What is the actual rip part of it?
What you'll see the Raiders do very often is either head slap, well, do it this way, with a head slap here and the rip move underneath.
This is the move where you drive them up underneath.
Well, they rip it with the arm, and they bring the arm up underneath and lift the man up. Or you can push with this hand and then rip underneath. You'll see them doing both. The Patriots have complained that they get a lot of holding calls because those arms are ripped underneath and left under the arm.
Eason looking for help. None to be found. He's down for a sack. Reggie McKenzie. He had plenty of time, but the coverage downfield by the Raiders secondary, tough, and had to eat it.
3-yard loss in the play. Second down and 13.
The Patriots have been outscored in the third period and in the first period, but have been very productive in the second and fourth. They did lead 7-3 after the first quarter today. There's that handoff to Collins. Nothing there. A gain of a yard. Flag down. Patel made the stop.
Patel on the shot.
Dick Waller's sorting that out. Well, we'll let Jerry Markwright make his call.
Yeah, there's also the Raiders you hear in the background.
Formation foul on number 67, offense.
That means that he's too far back away from the ball. Those offensive linemen must be up on that ball. And Steve Moore lined up too far from that ball, was penalized on that last play.
He's big enough to line up anywhere within a 5-year span if he's around the ball.
Well, they call it the condo or the house. Hawk Hanna said, we want to rename him Mobile Home. We don't want anything stationary out there with us.
You saw Mark Wilson walking on the sidelines. We received word that he was stepped on, a foot stepped on the last sequence, but he obviously is okay. They declined the penalty. Only 1-yard gain on the play, so it is 3rd and 11. Eason has yet to complete a pass to a wide receiver. Over the middle to James. Bubbles, and the Raiders have it. James had picked up the yardage necessary for a first down, but then loses the ball, and Van McElroy recovers at the Patriot 39.
Oh, how those turnovers do change the momentum and the emotion of a game. Looking from the opposite side of the field. Eason does everything right on this play. Nobody to go to. Takes a little extra time. And then a little flip pass here. But Craig James tried to put it away and run upfield before he had the ball secured. And that cost him the fumble.
I'm not sure he ever had control. That might have been an incomplete pass. Marcus Allen, he fumbles, and New England has it at the 32. Fred Marion, number 31, falling on the pumpkin as Marcus Allen had it stripped away. The Raiders are arguing that Allen was down.
Real turnaround, and the turnovers you see listed there, 4 by the Raiders today, and how interesting it is that they continue to be a team that somehow manages to survive the negative numbers on the turnover.
So back-to-back fumbles, and the Patriots have it again at their own 32, midway through the 3rd quarter. The winner gets Miami in the AFC Championship next Sunday. Robert Weathers, who played his college ball at Arizona State, has 3 yards.
Let's go in and look at that last fumble by Marcus Allen again from the opposite side of the field to get a better view of it. That's Lester Williams from the backside, number 72, and he just reached around and stripped that arm back. Marcus, I don't think, knew he was there. That ball popping loose on that play.
Well, that has been one of the major shifts in defensive play in just even the last 5 years. You don't just tackle a man, you're always thinking strip the ball as well. Morgan in motion. Craig James drawing a crowd, and Howie Long and Bill Pickel there to make the stop.
That was one of the priorities of Raymond Berry. He didn't like the turnover numbers that his team was showing. Not only weren't they taking the ball away often enough, but they were giving it up too often. He's had his offense practicing and stripping the ball, or his defense every day, and the offense practicing containing the ball, recovering fumbles, hanging on to that football. He has everybody run with the football in practice every day.
He likes to use the silly putty and squeeze to improve your grip strength as well. 3rd and 6. Eason to James, and he has a first down at the 47-yard line. So again, Eason going underneath to his running back. Rod Martin made the tackle.
They're working hard on the outside to control the speed receivers. Lester Hayes, 37, locked up shoulder to shoulder with Stanley Morgan. It's no wonder Eason is not going to go out there to him. Had to go underneath to the outlet receiver James, who picked up the first down.
Little misdirection. Weathers to the 49-yard line. Matt Millen trying to steal it away, but the play was whistled dead. And 76, Brian Holloway, and Millen, little extra.
You got a feeling in the pregame show listening to Matt Millen with the intensity that he brings to the game. Nicknamed Spike or Bubba, he's kind of the fireplug center. They got 2 stand-up tackles in there at linebacker, and they're good ones. There he is. He's stripping that football away.
Carrying it like a linebacker, too. The old loaf of bread approach. Yeah, the crusty linebacker, Matt Millen. 2nd and 8. Wrapped up at the 48-yard line, Reggie McKenzie. Young man, he's 6'1" and 240. What a rookie season, moving in one of those critical inside linebacker positions in the Raider defense.
But look at the size of the thighs and hips on Reggie. He is just built with such power. Look at that. Look at the bulk that he carries down low. And that inside linebacking position, he's able to use that strength very effectively.
3rd and 4. Again, Eason, no completions to a wide receiver. Is this the time? Yes. Stanley Morgan fumbles, and Irving Fryer recovers for New England. Well, how do you do? They don't complete a pass to a wide receiver till 4.5 minutes into the 3rd quarter, and then both men get their hands on a successful play.
What an alert save by Irving Fryer. But here's Morgan getting to the outside and giving Lester a little boost with his hand. He gets back inside. Watch the fumble there. Lester says, hey, I can get it too. But what quick reactions from Irving Fryer.
From Morgan to Fryer, the 2 wide receivers very much involved in this one. Fryer doing an excellent job of scraping that one into his body. 1st down at the Raider 26. James to the 19. Boy, he must have terrific vision, James, away. And Marcus Allen the same. I guess that's true of all the terrific runners.
The eyes. They play such a key role in this game of football.
Oh, he was telling that to you a couple of days ago, wasn't he? Ball at the 19-yard line. 2nd down and 3. James again. And he's looking at the goal line. Finally dragged down at the 8-yard line. 11 more yards for James, and it's 1st and goal, New England.
Excellent sustained drive by the Patriots as they move the ball down the field. You see James with a little hesitation there, but once he turns it up, once he turns those shoulders square to the line, boy, he drives with real power.
71 yards for James, looking at a possible century mark himself. Has a touchdown. 1st and goal. Weathers. Oh, was he stopped cold by Piquel. Bill Piquel. That's interesting that defensive line of the Raiders, all migrating from Eastern schools, Long from Villanova. Piquel played at Rutgers. Sean Jones at Northeastern and Boston.
You just don't somehow imagine this kind of dominant defensive player, the kind that they picked up coming from those schools. And it's interesting. I think in part it's because they came here and matured and began to use even more of their talents within the Raider organization.
2nd and goal from the 7. Eason dumps it out to Weathers. Flag down, and Weathers is dropped at the line of scrimmage.
Steve Moore using his hands on Reggie McKenzie, trying to get a little extra hold on him, and that's going to negate a pretty good play that was going to get things back to the line of scrimmage.
Raiders had defensed that so well. Reggie McKenzie out there to cut it off, and realizing his team in trouble, Steve Moore guilty of the foul.
Illegal use of the hands. Number 67, offense, 2nd down.
You know, Steve Moore has done a super job for the Patriots. Darrell Haley, a highly regarded young tackle, out for the year with colitis, and Moore has stepped in aptly.
Just trying to do a little bit too much on that play. There you saw him pushing in the back on Reggie McKenzie, and you see the flag. He almost dropped that right on the spot, didn't they?
Although behind the line of scrimmage, it was outside that tight end range, so that is an illegal block. Within the tight ends, that would have been okay. The reverse to Fryer. He's got a blocker. But look at the Raiders come to the ball, and Mike Davis was there to secure the tackle along with Stacy Turan, who made the initial hit.
Irving Fryer scored on a play just like this earlier in the year against the Seattle Seahawks, but the Raiders are not fooled anticipating this, and I'm sure that extra week of preparation helped them to get ready for exactly that kind of play. Fryer making a good jump over the top, but Stacy Turan didn't give him any room to move when he came down.
Boy, that play started. They had 3 blockers to 2 black shirts, but it didn't work out well for New England. 3rd and goal. 14-yard line. Eason. Fryer, incomplete. Sammy Seal, a former wide receiver, in as an extra defensive back, and here comes Tony Franklin in to try to tie it with a field goal.
Here's an isolation shot of Irving Fryer breaking deep. Sammy Seal protecting on that play. And look at Fryer go up and control that football, but couldn't get a hold of it before he stepped out of that end line.
Well, what an athlete, though. We're seeing some tremendous talent. This will be a 37 or 36-yard attempt by Franklin to tie. Plenty of leg, and it's even again as Franklin drills it from 36 yards. Timeout, 1 minute, 11 seconds remaining in a third quarter tie game.
Nothing clears my head better than a romp down a road like this. If that doesn't make sense to you, then this car probably won't either. The new generation Mazda RX-7 pours out power as smooth as silk, as only a rotary can. And nothing has a more advanced suspension system, so you track through turns like you're on rails. You can pay a whole lot more for a sports car and still not have this much fun.
Say, aren't you the driver of this new RX-7? Hi.
Hi.
If you're confident up north, raise your hand. If you're confident in Dixie, raise your hand. If you're sure from east to west, sure is one you love the best. Raise your hand if you're sure.
From the bleachers to the Met, Sure goes on feeling dry, not wet, and helps keep you feeling dry and confident all day, anywhere.
Confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand if you're sure.
An hour from now, there'll be 50,000 fans here, eating, drinking, cheering, and groaning. Some of those fans will leave here not feeling so well. Whether it's heartburn, upset stomach, even diarrhea, they can all take one remarkable medicine for relief. Pepto-Bismol. As it coats, Pepto-Bismol relieves what's wrong, relieves it, then leaves a protective coating behind. Pepto-Bismol. For most common stomach discomforts, the one that coats is the only one you need.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC. Next Saturday, the Hula Bowl spotlights Lombardi Trophy winner Tony Casillas, running back sensation Napoleon McCallum, and the nation's top senior All-Americans in their final collegiate appearance. The Hula Bowl. College football's best and brightest are on NBC Sports.
Well, you can bet that Al Davis and Dick Steinberg and the two teams here will be represented at that Hula Bowl, looking for talent for next year. Kick to Sammy Seal at the 5. Oh, no place to hide. Bubbles again, and New England may have a touchdown. They do. It appeared to be Cedric Jones in the middle of that pile. As Sammy Seal, the third fumble on special teams by the Raiders today, and this one the costliest of them all. And New England leads 26-20.
The pressure of the big game has forced some very unusual errors today. Sammy Seal just lets that ball go right through his arms, and then in his haste to pick it up, does not tuck it away. Just a little brush right there, but Mosi Tutupu knocking that ball out of his hands. Cedric Jones there. Who else was there? Hard to tell. A stack of Patriots on top of that football in the end zone.
It wasn't Jones, but we'll get confirmation as to who will be credited with a touchdown. Franklin has the extra point. And in just a matter of seconds, the Patriots
Patriots score 10 points to take the lead.
When you play on the same team,
And you both named Youngblood.
life can be confusing.
Hey, remember the time I played 2 games with a broken leg?
No, Jimmy, that was me.
What? There's no confusing our favorite beer, light beer from Miller.
Yeah, light tastes great.
But Jack, you drink it because it's less filling.
No, Jim, that's you.
It is?
Paging, Mr. Youngblood.
Well, I got to go.
Not you, Jack. The other one.
Hey, that's me.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer.
And less.
When you send a package to Europe, do you get that sinking feeling that it could be anywhere? Here, there, out of your hands, lost? Well, now, Federal Express is going to Europe. We'll make sending a package there as easy and reliable as it is here. 2-day service to London, Frankfurt, Zurich, Brussels, Amsterdam, and Paris. On our own plane. Now that you know Federal Express is going to Europe, why fool around with anyone else?
Are you anything like my brother Jack? He figured the only way to get into a serious road car was to go empty his bank account and buy something from the Black Forest. But I talked him into driving a Mazda 626. Now he's going around telling everyone he knows about refinements, like the better aerodynamics, the new fuel injection, and the great performance. But the way I figured, I saved old Jack about $7,000. You think I'll ever see any of it?
No way.
That's what I thought.
This winter on NBC Sports, all the excitement of college basketball is back. January 18th, one of the game's oldest rivalries heats up when the UCLA Bruins invade South Bend to take on Digger Phelps and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. College basketball, it's the stuff weekends are made of on NBC Sports.
He's from Cadillac, Michigan, Jim Bowman, and he just made a top-of-the-line play, recovering the ball in the end zone for the touchdown, and he's one of the lead men down under kickoff. That one goes in the end zone. It'll be a touchback. Raiders start at the 20-yard line. This is early in the game. The first scoring play was, well, no, this is Seal having trouble with the ball. He'll fumble it a second time when Mosi Tutupu comes in to strip it away, number 30.
There's the shot, and there's the stripping action right on that football. Bowman is right there, crawling and diving on that football. Earlier in the game, similar play. Fulton Walker heading upfield is hit right here, and as he's trying to get his balance, again, the ball stripped away. Ed Reynolds on that play, the man knocking it out of there.
And Bowman recovered that one as well. That led to a field goal. Todd Christensen fumbles, but it goes out of bounds. Raiders maintain possession at the 34, a 14-yard gain. Number 2 draft pick out of Central Michigan, Jim Bowman. It wasn't easy to get there. That's his first National Football League touchdown. Tough to stop those fighting Chippewas. 44 seconds left in the third quarter. Marcus Allen making things happen. Boy, it appears there's just nowhere to go, and he always finds a little crack, and he's out to the 44-yard line, close to another 10 yards. He has 119 yards today.
You've got to believe that one of the things that these New England Patriots are thinking about is containment. You simply can't afford to let Marcus get out of there. That means not only on the side that the ball is going to, but on the backside as well. He's dangerous, and he was looking to come back on that last play.
Raiders are not anxious to get another play off. They'll just let the clock run out here in the third quarter. 5 seconds showing. At the end of 3, it's the New England Patriots, the underdogs, 27-20. Back after these words from your local station. Davis, part of the hierarchy since 1963, and during that period of time, the Raiders the winningest team in pro football. Los Angeles starts the fourth quarter at its own 44. And they start with Marcus Allen getting drilled. No gain. Garin Veras, the rookie from Stanford, number 60.
Dick, just to follow up on Al Davis as you saw him upstairs, one of the things you heard as a constant theme through the pregame from the players was that it's expectations, what is expected, and that starts at the top. And I'll tell you, it was interesting to me that when Mike Haynes came here, They won a big game, and he went in the locker room expecting everybody to celebrate. And he said it was totally quiet in there. They said, we'll celebrate after the Super Bowl.
Wilson on 2nd and 9. Complete to Dokie Williams. First down at the Patriot 42.
The other big advantage to having a football man at the helm is the fact that he forces everyone in the organization to think football. He happens to be the best judge of talent in the organization, and also as a former coach knows what's going on the field, knows what should be done down there, and the players respect that extra pair of eyes.
There's a toughness about him that they respect as well. Kenny King has replaced Marcus Allen for a play, and he gets the call, little yardage. That'll bring up 2nd and 9. I think that's Frank Hawkins who carried as they do a little equipment repair on Marcus Allen, who has 121 yards in this game.
Looks like Marcus has broken the shoelace that holds those pads together in there. They were quickly tying it up again for him. He says he sustained himself pretty well through the season. It's not nearly as tired as he was in that second season. He felt like it lasted forever.
On 2nd and 9, Wilson. Incomplete to Todd Christensen, and Ronnie Lepet was very close to picking off his 3rd of this game.
I think the reason that Christensen dropped that football is that he saw Lepet flash by going the other way, and his hands were so close to the football it was hard to see. Let's see if this angle will give us a look at it. To the outside, left side of your screen, there's Lepet going by, and I think that took Todd's eyes off of that football momentarily.
3rd wide receiver goes in for the Raiders. Tim Moffitt, a rookie from Mississippi. 3rd and 9. Marcus Allen is back in. Trailing 27-20 early in the 4th quarter. Wilson needs a big one. He's in trouble. Incomplete as Marcus Allen was well covered by Johnny Rembert.
Marcus saying he was interfered with on that play. There was some confusion. It looked like Mark Wilson expected Dokie Williams to come in motion on that play. Lifted his heel and looked to the outside. No one came. The Raiders, of course, keep Marcus in the game, as they do Todd Christensen, because these are two of the finest possession receivers in all of football. There's Marcus going back to talk to the official.
Allen has only 1 catch today. That was for just 4 yards. Ray Guy to punt. His 2nd of the day. Kicked the one earlier for 33 yards. This one will be a good kick. They're going to mark it inside the 10 at the 6-yard line.
Ray Guy may have had his finest day of kicking back in New England against these Patriots, and there's a good case for this man having his best year ever this year.
Today's game is brought to you by John Hancock Financial Services, meeting today's needs with a range of financial products. By Renault Jeep, where commitment to quality and innovation form a winning team. And by light beer from Miller, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And some hot dogs to go with that beer here at the Coliseum. Our crowd, the wave is on. Starting deep in its own end, the Patriots in about 4 yards out of Craig James. Bill Pickel and company in the tackle. It's 27-20 New England. The Patriots got a fumble from Marcus Allen deep in New England territory. Drove for a field goal to tie the game, and the ensuing kickoff, a fumble by Sammy Seal, wound up in the end zone, recovered by New England's Jim Bowman to give them the lead. James again stopped at the 13-yard line. James with just under 80 yards on the afternoon. Pickel and Millen in on the tackle. Mark Wilson, knowing that there's no room for more mistakes as we're now in the final period. 12 minutes remain. Boy, that gaunt look of pressure on the face of Wilson. Third and 2. very close to a first down. James' third straight carry.
I think they shut him down, Dick. It's all in where they mark this play, but it looks like it's going to be marked between the yard marks. And well, that's going to be awfully close. We'll let them measure it.
There you see the yardsticks.
There's the surge down in the trenches. Boy, you better believe it. Number 54, Reggie McKenzie. 55, Matt Millen. 71, Pitkel. All sticking those hats in there tight. And this is going to be a very close measurement.
They made it.
And after that emotional response from this crowd and a very emotional response from the defense, there's some deflation in that kind of a measurement and that kind of success for the offense.
In terms of noise at the Coliseum, and Merlin as a player has already told you that this is not the noisiest of stadia until you get down at the other end of the stadium, the closed end, then the fans can really impact the play. James back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Right around his legs, Matt Millen and Brad Van Pelt.
Penetration on that play, too, from Howie Long, 75. Just scrambling in there and breaking up the timing on the play. Well, you look over at the Raiders side of the field.
That's Rusty Hilger, number 12. Meanwhile, the defense focusing on Craig James. He's carried 4 straight times. Tony Collins tripped up after a gain of 2. Jeff Barnes, number 56 from the University of California, made the hit.
Barnes usually plays in those long yardage situations and responsible for being a part of a number of the special pass defenses that the Raiders employ. The Raiders, one of the teams that really pioneered substitution situation. They use a lot of folks out there on the field.
3rd and 8. Collins short of the first down. Rod Morton and Reggie McKenzie, and the punting team is on for New England, and the fans cheer the Raider defense.
Remember, at this Raider punt return unit, blocked the kick, blocked the punt earlier for a touchdown, and almost blocked the second one of Camarillo's punts. No matter what happens here, they're going to have good field position as long as they hang on to the football. We better add that.
Colton Walker has fumbled twice. He's back at the Raider 35. 10 men on the line of scrimmage.
Good kick.
Walker back to his 28. 35. And wrapped up at the 36-yard line. Mosi Tatupu makes still another tackle. He's had an outstanding day on special teams. We have a timeout. Team for the figure skaters, the greatest in the world. Rich Camarillo, a 50-yard punt. He was a big Rams fan. He grew up here in Southern California. He said, "Who was your idol?" Merlin Olsen. He said, "What position did he play?" No, he liked Jack Snow, your former teammate, number 84, who had some big games on this Coliseum turf. Wilson in the flat to Allen. Oh, he must have eyes in the back of his head. He's to the 34-yard line. A loss of 2, but it could have been worse than that.
The thing that is so dangerous when he touches the ball and you see him dipping and diving and turning and twisting, and if he can't see an opening, he is fast enough to take it.
You were talking about how the Patriots have designed their defense to keep a man always on the opposite side. There was only one man left there. He could have reversed his field, but somebody stayed at home, or he might have broken that for a long one.
Containment, such an important thing. We'll try and get a shot of that.
Hawkins from a wing in motion. Fake to Allen. Throw to Christensen. And it's complete down to the 42-yard line. Dokie Williams to Christensen. It looked like it was being batted around like a ping pong.
One of the things that happens with this Raider offense, Todd Christensen sometimes will get out of his ordinary pattern and get into an area where he shouldn't be. I think that's what happens here. He thinks this ball is to him. He jumps for it and taps it. It hits off Doki's chest, comes right to Todd. Unbelievable. On the goal. I don't think that's a play, but it sure worked.
Look at that, right off his hands to Christensen, who knew where it was going to go all along. To the 42-yard line with 7.5 minutes left. The Raiders trail by a touchdown. It's intercepted. Fred Marion on his way to the 44-yard line off the hands of Christensen, who couldn't make the miracle reception on that one.
Off the hands of Marcus, I believe, in that case, Dick, but the same kind of thing, and Mark Wilson is going to be credited with an interception there. That's the kind that shouldn't go in his column. Nevertheless, it's a great play for Marion. And Marion, a man that I feel should have been in the Pro Bowl, I'm not the only one who feels that, made so many big plays on the year. That ball touched by Marcus, knocked back, but every very quick ball reactions by Marion to grab that football.
I've got to put that one in Wilson's column, though. That was not a very good throw.
Was thrown behind Marcus.
That's the third interception, and the Patriots leading 27-20. Good field position. Robert Weathers has about 5 to midfield. Marion, going back to his interception, he led the Patriots during the regular year and with 7 interceptions and 189 yards and interception returns to lead the NFL, but did not make the Pro Bowl.
Let's go back and look at that interception one more time. Ball thrown right there. Marcus trying to get his hands out there to get a piece of it. All he did was hang it up just a moment for Fred Marion, number 31.
27-20, New England trying to pull the upset. All the favorites have won this round of the playoffs. And in fact, the previous as well. Cleveland Browns close to an upset at Miami yesterday, but the Dolphins rallied from 21-3 down to win. And now time running out on the Raiders, who can ill afford to get New England down close enough for a field goal that would give them a 10-point advantage.
Saying a big hello to his mom and dad. Boy, he earned a chance to do that with his play during this season, and that big play puts his team down in Raider territory.
Third and short. Weathers has the first down at the 44. McKenzie with another tackle for Los Angeles. Piquel an assist.
Flashback, if you will, to yesterday and the great comeback by the Miami Dolphins. This Raider team, a similar kind of football team. How many times have we seen them come back in the fourth quarter?
They trail by 7 at the moment with 5.5 minutes left. But a 10-point lead with time running out, and the fact that the Raiders have spent 2 timeouts, they have only 1 remaining, could make it most difficult for them. Weathers, maybe a yard. Stacy Turan with the tackle.
Excellent anticipation by the Raider defense. They had 53, Rod Martin, coming wide open on that play. Bob Seaman over there making the calls. Good job there.
You see the official timeouts remaining, only 1 for the Raiders. Mark Wilson in the same series had to spend 2 when he either didn't like the setup for the play call or was running out of time on the 30-second clock. Weathers and James behind Eason, 2nd and 9. Weathers suddenly busy man, and Piquel makes the play. Bill Piquel from Rutgers. Dad is a New York area policeman. Went to high school in Brooklyn. He himself a criminology major. He solved that one readily.
You've got to like Big Bill Piquel. The great transition he made. That's a tough position to learn to play, and especially for a man who's as tall as Piquel. Piquel at about 6'5", gives away some leverage. Has really done a good job on the nose.
Patriots staying on the ground, but now they face 3rd and a dozen. Eason from the shotgun hands it off to James with running room. And that play works again. That's the same call they used for a touchdown in the first half. And James gets 14 on 3rd and 12. First down, New England. are now in Franklin's range.
New England continues to run effectively out of that spread or shotgun formation from the right side of your screen there. That's almost a draw play. And with everyone coming aggressively on the pass rush, James able to spot some openings there and get himself upfield.
James now just a handful of yards away from 100. He has 97. Moshi to Tupu. Nothing there. Jeff Barnes with a hit. Turan with a piece of it. Clock running. 3:04, 3:03. And we are now at 3 minutes remaining. So another first down would be a killer for the Los Angeles Raiders because there's only the 2-minute timeout and one other left for the Raiders.
Looking across, you just almost sense the energy. What an upset this would be for these New England Patriots.
Yeah, they were 9 out of their last 11, and their 2 losses were only by field goals. Tony Collins on the carry, and a flag is down. That'll stop the clock and will aid the Raiders in that regard.
And if that's a holding penalty, that might take Franklin out of field goal range, Dick.
There's Franklin, who has kicked from 44 and 32 yards, 2 for 2 today. Had 4 last week against the Jets to tie an NFL playoff record.
Holding number 30, offense, second down.
Tupu guilty of the hold. That takes it out to the 42, which is out of Franklin. Well, Franklin, we shouldn't say out of his range. He has kicked one from 59 yards in his pro career. That was back with the Eagles.
Dick, I asked Raymond Berry why he doesn't use 4 receivers. He has 4 with such great speed, and he said, well, we haven't had a chance to put all the offense in. We need that extra tight end for the pickup scheme. We're more concerned about doing what we have well rather than adding the extra offense.
Again, the handoff to James, and that play that has been really bread and butter for the Patriots gets about 6.
Tough decision here. This would be an extremely long field goal.
Now 2:16 left. The Raiders are not going to use their timeout, so New England will let the clock run all the way to the 2-minute warning. Boy, those 2 timeouts used have become a critical part of the closing minutes of this game. 2 minutes left.
1984. The Colts trail the Steelers by 6 with half a minute left. A desperate Mike Cagle in trouble on the right. Spins left. He's looking. He fires a frantic pass downfield that's intercepted by Sam Washington. No, the ball is bobbled and plucked out of midair by Ray Butler, who rambles 30 yards for the TD. The Colts beat the Steelers 17-16 on the Immaculate Reception Revisited.
The championship game for the American Conference to follow the NFC title game. That'll, of course, the NFC, the Bears will host the Rams, and then we'll be either here in Los Angeles, but more and more with 2 minutes left, it looks as if we might be at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Because if New England wins, they go against the Dolphins, a team that has really been a terror against them in Miami. But the Raiders are in a situation now, 3rd down and 16, to try to stop New England on this play and hope that Franklin cannot make a field goal. Charlie Hanna, number 73 of the Raiders. His brother John on the field for the New England Patriots, who lead 27-20. Turnovers have been the key. And the biggest of all, a fumble by Sammy Seal on a kickoff return that led to a touchdown. Jim Bowman falling on it in the end zone for the difference in this game at the moment. Again, they run. And Tupu is stopped at the 37, and there the Raiders spend their final timeout with 1:54 left. It'll be a long field goal try by Franklin. No timeouts left. You're down by a touchdown. You're going to call on all possible resources. Lester Hayes. Terrific camera work. Ted Nathanson and his camera crew. Larry Cirillo, our producer.
Right now, the Patriots interested in putting as much green between Mark Wilson and that Raider offense as they possibly can. They're trusting this game to their defense at this point.
They have a 54-yard field goal that they're not going to kick. Franklin is not on the field. Camarillo to punt it away. Ooh, close to being blocked, and no penalty flag down. It goes in the end zone, and the Raiders will start at the 20. Townsend, who blocked one earlier that led to a score for the Raiders, almost got that one. So no timeouts, 1:44 left. It's in the hands of Mark Wilson.
They only pick up 16 yards on that punt. 80 yards from their 20 to the opposite end zone. One of the better defenses in all of football, and believe me, they're going to be playing deep. The closer to the line you are, the more aggressive you play, but back behind the line, they'll be playing conservatively.
Incomplete to Marcus Allen. Ronnie Lepet was on him. Or they kind of hid Lepet that time up inside. He was almost playing in a linebacker position.
This is the kind of situation that really works to the advantage of Rod Rust's defense. Their philosophy all during the ball game is force the team you're playing to get that ball down the field a little piece at a time. And that's their thinking now. Eat up that minute and 38 seconds. Boy, you feel the intensity from Grogan and crew on the sideline, don't you?
Incomplete again, this time intended for Hawkins, and Johnny Rembert made the play. Andre Tippett, the pressure man.
Got to wonder at that pass anyway. Hawkins gets that football. He has a hard time getting out of bounds. Once you get him down, that clock will eat it up. 2 incomplete passes right off the bat. Mark Wilson dumped as he got that football away. And, well, I know somebody who wants to celebrate. He doesn't want to do it too early. That's Billy Sullivan. He wants to run around and hug a few of those players and congratulate them. Better wait just a minute, Billy.
3rd and 10 with a minute and a half remaining. Allen with a catch, but it's not good enough for the first down, and the clock is running.
They'll quick go to the line. Mark Wilson will get him there, and either he's calling the audible. There's the play.
4th and 4. They've got to make 4+ or this one's over. They've got it to Allen. He's at the 40. He's at the 50 into the 49. The clock will run. 25 yards to Marcus Allen.
And there's a penalty down.
Oh, my. Way back at the 17-yard line. They're going to call this one back. Ten years ago in the playoffs, that most memorable call that cost New England a chance to go on, and the Raiders won.
Personal foul. Grabbing the face mask, number 65, offense, 4th down.
Mickey Marvin, in trying to block his man, guilty of the penalty. The shoe was on the other foot 10 years ago at the Oakland Coliseum when Kenny Stabler on 4th in a must situation. Apparently incomplete. New England would win when a penalty went against Sugar Bear Hamilton that extended the drive, and the Raiders pulled it out and went on to win the championship. So it's 4th down. The penalty makes a 10-yard mark off. 4th and 17. 15-yard mark off. 4th and 17. Of one receiver into the arms of another, but Dokie Williams could not hang on, and the Patriots have 56 seconds to chew off the clock. No timeouts left for the Raiders. This game is over. The New England Patriots have pulled the one upset out of the playoffs and will go to Miami next week if they can just execute 2 snaps from center.
From the 13.
Suddenly, it's very quiet here in the Coliseum.
Don Shula will be our guest on NFL 85. It'll be interesting to get Coach Shula's comments. He had to pull one out of the fire yesterday. You're watching him yesterday and reading his mind, Merlin. I know that you had some doubts as he did as to whether or not they're going to get the job done. There's a timeout here with 56 seconds remaining, and New England about to win. Final hope slipping through the hands of the Raiders.
Watch the ball through the hands of Jesse Hester, 84, and it touches right into the palms there of Dookie Williams, and Dookie just unable to handle that football. We saw that kind of play a few minutes ago with their success. The Raiders, of course, would like a miracle of some kind, but they're just going to drop to a knee and let the clock move. No timeouts. Dick, the last time New England won a playoff game, 1963 against the Buffalo Bills.
Till last week, and then now they've won 2 in a row, and they'll go to Miami, where they have lost 18 straight. Not since 1966. The Dolphins' first year in the NFL have the Patriots won in Miami. You can look at that statistic 2 different ways.
You sure can.
One, they're well overdue. The other is, and of course, they played a magnificent game against the Dolphins and lost by 3 late in this season. Craig James is our Michelob Most Valuable Player. The New England Patriot running back, the first this season to rush for over 100 yards against the Raider defense. Michelob donates $1,000 to the United Way on behalf of Craig James. This game is over. The New England Patriots have upset the Los Angeles Raiders 27-20. A stunned crowd of 88,936 in the Coliseum in Los Angeles, and the Patriots won it on the ground and taking advantage of Raider mistakes.
And as has happened so often in Raider history, turnovers such a big part of that loss.
The Patriots go to Miami.
The Raiders in. 4 of them led either directly or indirectly to Patriots scores. New England with the win, 27-20. You will see New England play at Miami. It'll be the late game next Sunday, NFL 85 at 3:30 Eastern Time. The kickoff from the Orange Bowl at 4 Eastern Time. The early game in the conference championship round. The Bears hosting the Los Angeles Rams. The Bears won their way into that round by shutting the Giants out at frigid Soldier Field today, 21-0. Our time is very short, but we will go down to Miami. Don Shula is standing by at his home. Don, we have to keep it brief, but obviously, although the Patriots will be no picnic, you're gratified to be playing at home.
Much rather be playing at home. I know how tough it is to beat the Raiders out there, to try to beat them, and this is why you have to give New England and Raymond Berry credit for a great job all year long, and in particular today.
Now, after a 2-3 start, the Patriots have won 11 of their last 13, and their only losses by a field goal in the rain a few weeks ago against your team, and an overtime defeat by a field goal against the Jets at the Meadowlands. So they're playing supremely well right now.
Excellent defense, and offensively, they control the ball. They have an excellent running game, and Eason in these last 2 ball games is playing pretty much error-free ball. He's not making big mistakes. In our game, he threw a couple of interceptions that really hurt him, but now it looks like he's got that where he's making the big plays when he has to.
You've beaten the Patriots 18 straight times at the Orange Bowl. Is that a factor psychologically?
Well, that's something that we can't concern ourselves with. We had trouble with the Browns last week. We were behind 21-3 in the ball game and had to come from behind in the 4th quarter to win the ball game. So the last time that New England was down here, the game came right down to the wire, and we won at the end of that game. When teams are this far along, when you're playing for the AFC Championship, anything can happen, and we have a lot of respect for them.
What about the health of your team coming out of yesterday's game against the Browns?
As far as I know, we should be in good shape. We've got a lot of people that are banged up that might miss some practice time, but everybody should be ready for the ball game.
Quick answer here, Don, on our final question. Just how concerned were you when the score was 21-3 Browns? What kind of thoughts were going through your mind?
Well, there were a lot of thoughts going through my mind. I felt that we had to shut them out in the second half, and then they scored on that long run. But the key was the drive that we put together. And once we scored that first touchdown, I think everybody got the confidence that we could win the ball game.
Don, thanks very much. And a day late, a happy 56th birthday.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, let's go back out to the Coliseum in Los Angeles for some final thoughts from Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
Bob, As New England celebrated a chance to go to Miami, this was the scene right after the final gun. Matt Millen and a couple of New England Patriots going at it as the Raiders go out fighting.
I think someone had said something to Millen, and he and Howie Long were just attacking in there, and everybody trying to calm things down. But these Raiders, they don't ever quit fighting, Dick.
Wild-eyed and teary-eyed. Disbelief. The Raiders have been eliminated, and everyone was here in this part of the country. We're looking at a Raiders-Chicago Bears Super Bowl. But Billy Sullivan, the owner of the New England Patriots, a man who has had his own hard times during the course of 1985, certainly has had a very happy 1986. Win against the Jets, win against the Raiders.